I found the love of my life and turned my life around, but my cousin stole everything.
Including your wife?
Maybe. I've been stalking these subreddits for a while, and I thought just reading people's stories would help me. Or if I found someone with a similar story, a similar situation, and I could see how they did it. But I guess my situation is unique. Kind of sounds like it. So here we go. First, let me be clear. I don't care if you think this is fake. I don't care if you want to rip me a new one after I vent. It already happened. I thought I was okay. I thought I had moved on. But after last weekend, it all came back, and that anger I had back then just came full force, even though I'm back home with my fiance. That anger towards my ex just won't go away. I spent years in anger management for what she did and the situation that was created, and I thought I was okay. Right now, I just turned 39. I was 18 years old when I met my ex,
wow,
Marisol.
We're going all the way back.
All the way back.
Back to the very beginning.
Throwing back 21
very
years.
Good place to start.
OP's trauma is of legal drinking age.
Dude, quick okay story time. My brother has a friend where his mom was 26 and his dad was 15 at the time, and he met his dad when he was in high school, and his dad was 30. And that mom likes to play Uno with my brother and his friends, and my mom told him to stop doing that.
Wait.
Yeah.
He was 15, so by the time his kid was 15, he was 30 years old.
Bombastic
It
silence.
would be like
wild.
us having a 12-year-old right now. So I was 18 when I met my ex Marisol. During that time, I was a gangbanger with the Latin Kings. I was a member since I was 13 years old and always in and out of trunk.
Dude, the Latin Kings was a serious gang.
No joke.
Dude, I know about the Latin Kings.
It's no joke. They're here.
Yeah.
They're in LA.
Yeah.
By the way, this comes from Still Angry After 4 from the r/Hokie Storytime subreddit. So, Marisol was a church girl. My grandmother dragged me to Sunday Mass when I saw her. To me, it was love at first sight. I asked my cousin, who was a friend of hers, if he could introduce us, but he refused. He didn't want me to mess with her. He didn't want me to ruin her. Have you ever met someone that you wanted to make yourself be better with?
Oh, because like he's like a gangbanger kid and she's like a good little church girl, and the cousin's like, no.
Nah, it can't be. This
gonna-
feels like a setup of like a movie, like a Romeo Juliet, like modern version.
Yeah, or
something.
like what's the movie with the cats? And you got the alley cat with the home cat.
Cats.
I don't think so. I think it's like
I haven't seen Cats anyway. There's
it's,
cats in
it's a Disney movie. Chat will know in a bit.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm talking
Chat
about.
will know. Yeah, I know. What you're talking about.
Keep going.
Anyways, I wanted to be that better man who would walk that right path. Yeah, that was her. When I found out that she was going to church almost every day, I hung out by the steps talking to her.
Brother,
I always walked her to and from church. She made me feel like I wasn't worthless. Oh, OP.
Aristocats!
Aristocats, that's it. Nice. She made me feel like I wasn't worthless. One thing led to another, and we were dating, and I felt great. For a year and a half, I pushed myself away from the gang life, got my GAD, become a regular churchgoer, and I was thinking about the future when I got unintentionally pulled back in.
Just when I thought it was out, I was pulled back in.
I was at a store and I ran into someone that I used to have problems with. They were running their mouths and I tried to ignore it. I swear I did. I just let them talk and I walked away. But then I got attacked and I lost my mind and I attacked him.
Dang.
I got arrested and suddenly it was like the crap I did to make my life better just vanished. Marisol was pissed at me. My grandmother kept bringing up my past mistakes, and my cousin was telling me that he knew I wasn't going to change.
Oh man! Even after all he did,
he did, and then there it is. Well, hopefully there's some. Hopefully in the full. This is a long story. Okay, so there's a redemption arc might be on the precipice.
I'm hoping, but damn.
My public defender saw me trying to better myself, and by the grace of God, got me off after a month in lockup. So just 1 month.
Still 1 month in the clink.
Look, it's not fun, but better than 12.
Yeah.
Better than 24.
Better than 6.
You know, as a young kid, dude.
It's not fun. Both John and I know.
Don't we?
Okay. Being in the same shower together and dropping the soap isn't the same as jail, boys. Okay, that's different.
You're crazy.
Stop talking about our morning routine, Riley, okay? Now, despite being angry with me, Marisol did visit me almost daily. A month after I got out, I found I was going to be a father, and I didn't want my kid to have a dad that was dead or in jail.
A month after you got out, you found out you were going to be a father?
Yes.
Whoa. To who? With the church lady girl?
Yeah. I mean, he was in, I mean, it could have happened before,
That's true.
but also, you know, it gets lonely. It gets lonely.
That is a very good ICU.
Is it a cousin?
I see you. Cousin slipped it in when he was in the clink.
And that's why he didn't want to introduce. That's the real reason.
Yeah,
why he
because
didn't want to
cousin
introduce.
was into him was into her the whole time.
And now with suave, sexy OP out of the way.
Yeah.
He's like, well, she's got no other choice but me.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. So we eloped. I went to a trade school to become a mechanic, and I busted my butt for my future family. When Luna was born, love that name by the way, it was almost the worst day of my life.
Oh.
What?
Marisol wouldn't stop bleeding. She went into shock, and they had to give her a double hysterectomy.
Oh.
She was in the hospital for months, and Luna became my world. That is insane. I wanted her life to be the best. I wanted to give her the world. When Marisol was released from the hospital,
Nice.
I promised her that our daughter will have a life far better than ours, and for years, I kept that promise. I saved enough money to move us to the suburbs, become homeowners. I was a Girl Scout leader, if you could believe that. That is literally the cutest thing.
I don't know what OP looks like, but I'm imagining like a super tatted up dude.
Just freaking
and just like
buff.
a super buff tatted up dude going door to door and asking about
He's
Girl
like,
Scouts is awesome.
Dude. Buy these cookies.
You better.
I made sure Luna went to private school, made sure she knew how to defend herself, and always made sure I was the perfect husband.
Oh man, there's gonna be a shoe dropping soon.
Dude, it's coming. It's coming.
Oh.
I didn't know my parents. I did not have a positive male role model in my life, so I didn't know what a healthy relationship looked like. That's a lie. TV dads were my male role models, and I mimicked them and the marriage they had on TV. That's
Nice.
funny.
That's nice.
As the years went by, I owned my own garage. My cousin became a pastor, and my grandmother was still a pain in my butt. My relationship with my wife was stronger than ever. I made sure that I kept my prison body, but Luna hated me.
Okay. Why?
Since she turned 13, she just started hating me.
She learned something.
Yep. She went on that one app that you. What did you get? What was that one thing you got sponsored a while ago? We can look at people's background.
No
history.
free sponsors.
Yeah,
but,
no free sponsors.
Okay, I did that to
background
my
check.
parents, and I was like a little upset because John gave me a free trial,
You did?
and then I was like, "Oh no!" So she probably went on that site and figured that out.
Oh my gosh, dude! Shout out to them, but I won't shout them out because they don't pay us anymore.
Yeah.
They don't deserve it now.
They don't
but-
deserve it. But they did kind of fund the podcast initially.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true. It's true. So she rolls her eyes every time I told her that I love her. Didn't want me to hug her. Ignore me when I asked her about her day at school. It hurt me, and Marisol saw it. She told me that she's a teenager and I should just let it ride out. She will come back to me. For 2 years, it was like that, that's
2
tough.
years. That's a long time.
That's a long time. That's tough. So for her quinceañera, I wanted to go all out. I got everything she wanted, and she was still disrespectful. And briefly, the old me almost came out to put her in her place. Instead, I went to my cousin, I believe the pastor, vented my frustration and doubts about being a good father, and he told me to just let her be, and he said a prayer for me. I wanted a slideshow. For the father-daughter dance. I got a chunk of the pictures of us together, but I realized I didn't have any recent pictures of us together. She didn't want to take any.
That's so sad.
Dude.
And also, it's like yeah, he gets her the perfect quinceañera, but you can't buy a child's affection.
It's true, but and maybe there's something we don't know. Unreliable narrator, but it's like what? I don't know. Kids obviously they have the terrible teens, but what is there something that caused it? I think she found something out.
She found something. I think it's either she found out that he's not her dad, or he found out that he was in jail, or the cousin said why he was in jail and it's not completely truth or twisting the truth. I think, Grandma's got a potty mouth, says the cousin told Luna about his past. I'm thinking that.
Ooh.
I'm thinking that.
Also, don't forget Grandma.
And
Grandma's still salty all these years
Grandma's
later.
still salty.
You know why the cousin said it?
Talk to me.
Because that's his kid.
Oh, he's trying to win. He's trying to steal OP's family.
I see you guys.
I
see
see
you if
you.
you see it. I see you if you see it. The last time I had pictures of her and I smiling with me with her was on her 13th birthday, and those were on my daughter's broken tablet. I took that tablet, went to a repair shop. I didn't care about the cost. I needed that tablet fixed. After a day and $300, dude, get a new tech shop. Riley would figure it out.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Master negotiator.
Yeah. The tech fixed it and I was happy. I knew her passcode, but I never bothered invading her privacy. I just wanted those pictures. I see you in the comments.
Bro, okay, you've heard of the cheating iPad, but have you heard of the fake dad iPad?
Ooh. The children poisoning iPad,
The children,
dude?
yeah, dude. The I'm not your
manipulation?
real dad, but I am your real dad iPad.
When I opened the tablet, I looked in the gallery, and there they were. My little girl smiling and happy to be with me. I felt great. Then the instant messages appeared. It was my daughter talking to my wife. It was a long banter that she didn't want me to dance with her, and it did hurt. But like my wife said, she's being a teenager. Then she said something that destroyed me.
Oh, no.
She texted why she had to do the father-daughter dance with me, since I'm not her father.
Who freaking called it? Ah! Dude, I freaking know Reddit. I know stories. I know that. Damn. Who?
Oh my gosh.
Oh. I don't miss.
This poor man.
Dude.
I mean, yeah, sorry.
Right? We always get so excited when we guess. We're like, oh wait, we just guessed the worst possible things that could
I
happen.
mean, wow, this is
Oh, yeah,
terrible.
this is so-
This
yeah.
is really
This is-
bad.
this-
This is
damn,
really
that
bad.
sucks.
Yeah, nope.
That sucks.
sucks.
Anyways, oh dude,
Holy frick. We'll get back to the story, but John, I had a crazy basketball game last night.
what happened?
So I was playing and the other team was very aggressive. I got an offensive foul, which like that is crazy to get. And like I kind of tweaked my ankle.
Ooh.
But this other guy, our center, our star player,
Yeah.
went in for a layup and this dude just like smacked him in the head. And he had to walk off for a second. Ref didn't say anything and he got a technical foul because he was going off at the ref.
Even though he got hit in the head,
He got hit in the head.
that doesn't make any sense.
He had to sit down for a little bit and he was like, dude, I don't even know what to do. I'm new here. I've never been to like a doctor. Like, what do I do? I was like, bro, good for you. I know exactly where you need to go.
Riley, where is that to save your team? Where are you going to point him, Riley?
ZocDoc.
That's right. ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare highly rated in-network doctors near you and instantly book appointments with them online. And these doctors all have verified reviews from real patients just like you guys. We're talking about booking appointments with tens of thousands of top-rated, patient-reviewed, credible doctors and specialists. And you can filter the ones that take your insurance. We're looking out for your pockets, ladies and gentlemen. And they treat basically any condition you're looking for. The typical wait time to see a doctor booked on ZocDoc is between just 24 and 72 hours, and sometimes even the same day. I use ZocDoc. We use ZocDoc. Guys, you should use ZocDoc too. Go to ZocDoc.com/OKOP and download the ZocDoc app for free, then find and book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/OKOP, ZocDoc.com/OKOP. Let's get back to the story. I felt my heart stop.
Oh.
I got dizzy, my mouth dried up, and I needed to sit down. My wife responded that I raised her, I loved her, and that's what makes me her father. But Luna responded by saying that my cousin is her father. Yep.
Like father or daddy father?
Like it was his,
I'm your dad, I'm your father, or I'm your pastor, I'm your father?
No, I'm your dad, I'm your father.
Daddy father.
And she can't wait for her to turn 18 so she could tell me the truth and she could live with her real dad. So literally Marisol right now is like, listen, I don't want you to do whatever, but we need to keep playing off the facade for a few more years. Then we can be with your real dad, abandon OP who spent, his whole life just doing the absolute most to make sure she had an amazing life.
It's always the church girls that are the horny ones.
Dude,
yeah.
bro, church girl went, lied to him, had him raise his kid. All these, I mean, we're 15 years into this lie, and here's OP, and he's like, I've turned my life around. I'm doing everything. Like,
dude, OP's gonna be going through it.
Speechless.
Going through it.
Okay, so
Rick.
that she hated me, that she thanked God that I'm not her father.
What did he do besides raise you?
I think she's, I don't know.
Her mind is poisoned.
Yeah.
Although, slight plot twist, next sentence, Marisol began cussing her out, saying that it was a mistake for my cousin to tell her the truth 2 years ago. And the more they talked, the angrier I was getting. It's the cousin that's... So I think the mom is like, doesn't care about OP actually, and is just, using him. But I think but she's getting mad because she's like, hey, like, don't blow your lid and like blow this for us, because then that'll be that more years. Right now, he's funding a private school. He's doing all the things in the world for her,
Girl
right?
Scout leader.
She could lose all of that, and she knows it.
That's so sad.
Probably,
Girl Scouts.
Marisol, he's probably covering everything for Marisol as well. So she's like, I got a free ride. I don't have to live as a pastor's wife for the next 3 years.
Dude, dang.
Save up. I don't know. Who knows?
It is tough. It is a tough life
yeah.
sometimes.
So, my wife lied to me for 15 years. My cousin, with whom I confide my issues about Luna and my fears about being a bad father, not only effed my wife, but had me raise his child. I wanted to hurt them. I felt a mixture of anger, sorrow, and grief. I wanted to scream, cry, and die at the same time, if that makes any sense. I went to a dark place, and so I wouldn't do anything stupid. I told Marisol that I needed to focus on work so I could plan the quinceañera, and instead I drove to Manhattan and saw my old public defender, who wasn't a low-level attorney anymore. He had a nice, expensive firm near Midtown East. Also, love that story of like the public defender's like just starting out, gives this kid a chance.
Yep.
OP becomes a successful guy. That dude is like super sick. Love that. Anyways, sidebar. I was surprised that he remembered me, but apparently I was his first case as a public defender.
Wow.
That's crazy. We sat down and I told him everything. I gave him the tablet, and when he turned it on, the messages just kept coming. Only Luna was talking to my cousin, her real father, and he was telling her to give me a chance. How I was always there for her, but Luna told him that so was he. How it makes sense that they have so much in common, and even called him Poppy multiple times in their conversation, and he responded and told her that she was his little girl. We went through our options. And he asked me, what do I want to do? And I told him I wanted to go full scorched earth.
This is so sad.
Please let justice.
This is so sad.
I wanted to poison the well, and he asked me several times if that's what I wanted. I nodded yes.
Oh.
I also told him that everything had to be filed before the quinceañera in 2 weeks. So we sat down and spent the next 12 hours on what needed to be done, and I followed his instructions to the letter. I secretly placed my business for sale. I called the private school and told them I will not be paying for the next year. I closed the college accounts and the savings that I had for Luna and prepared to place my house for sale online. Oh, dude, this... Oh, man.
Man's hurting.
In fairness, it's probably hard to... Now, it's already challenging when you realize, the child isn't yours and everything else. It's also hard when that child is
Hates
like
you.
abandoning you and is like, yeah, she's, teenager, puberty, whatever. But I don't know, 15 years old, like, I'm sorry, but like, shouldn't you have the wherewithal to be like, this man raised me and this guy let my mom and everything lie to him.
She's being I feel like she's being manipulated by the cousin. So like, it's not like, I don't think she's...
Yeah,
there's full blame because it's not that hard to manipulate teenagers.
Yeah.
It's true. I want to see more of because it's weird because it seemed like both of them were like, hey, don't go too hard on him, but maybe I don't know. I'm very curious to see.
Yeah.
Hopefully we see more context in their conversations in the future. But No one was the wiser. I followed his instructions perfectly. There was only one thing I deviated from the day of the quinceañera. The day went off without a hitch. The whole family was there. Luna was smiling, having fun. Marisol kept asking me if I was okay, and I lied to her. It was hard lying to her from the moment I met her. I never lied to her, and during these 2 weeks, every time I kissed her, held her, made love to her, it was hard not to scream at her. It was hard not to hate her. She knowingly let me raise another man's child. She slept with my cousin, a man who I saw as my brother, the godfather of my child, my best man when I eloped, and my confidant. Thank you for not being a friend.
Oh
my gosh.
This
I'm
is
stepping on
so
nails.
sad.
So, the rage was hard to suppress, to say the least. When it was time for the father-daughter dance, I called her to the center of the stage.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
She looked She looked annoyed, but she walked over.
No.
I had the music playing, and she smiled, and it tore me apart. Seeing her smiling at me. For years, I wanted to see that smile again, and now I didn't want it. As we danced, I had the slideshow playing. Pictures of the two of us, and towards the end of a song,
No.
Screenshots.
I knew it. I knew it. I knew it.
screenshots of her text messages with her mother and real father.
Oh,
No.
oh, that is full scorched earth.
No.
That is a quinceañera to remember.
Whoa.
Oh my gosh.
Putting a pin in this for the first update.
Oh my gosh.
A-hole move or not?
I mean, it's a child.
It's a child.
It's a
That's
child.
the thing.
It's a little. It's like I understand, but it's a child. She's being manipulated. It's the person. The people that should pay are the cousin
Yes.
and the wife.
Yes.
Not the child. And it's like
Yes.
at her
It's putting most
quinceañera
of the
too.
yeah.
It's like
it's putting
like,
most of it on. She's
Yeah.
receiving the brunt of the flame.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like she is the result of manipulation
Yeah.
and bad decisions on the cousin and Marisol's
Yes.
behalf.
Yep.
And it's not really her,
Yes.
but freaking epic.
Dude. So back to the story. Again, reminder, he just revealed the screenshots in the daddy-daughter dance at the quinceañera. OP goes on. Needless to say, this didn't bode too well.
Oh, duh.
Marisol looked like she saw a ghost. Luna just kept staring at the large screen, and my cousin just stared at me with fear. Marisol ran to me and told me that she could explain, and I told her I filed for divorce. That she could explain it in court.
Oh,
She grabbed my arm, begging me, and I pulled back. I told Luna that I busted my ass to give her the world, and now she doesn't deserve it. I began to walk out, but not before telling my cousin that every time I see him, I'm going to knock him out. And then I knocked him out. Man's kept his word for the past 15 years. He's not about to stop now.
Oh my gosh.
Woo! The aftermath was harsh. Marisol and Luna was at my grandmother's apartment. Her family was shocked and disgusted with her. They wanted nothing to do with her. Her father actually apologized to me. I don't know why. He never liked me despite me turning my life around. The man hated me, but now I was the perfect husband and father, but just a few days prior, I was the former piece of crap. My grandmother had the audacity to tell me about the story Abraham and how when he came back from battle 3 years later, his wife had one child and he raised him as his own, and how I should be like Abraham.
shout out Abraham.
So I told her to get the F out of my house. So there you go. Marisol came a few days later, crying as soon as she saw me, telling me that it was an accident. Yeah. Whoop. Oh, well, guess we're having a kid.
I feel like we're gonna get some like information that's gonna crush us.
Dude,
yeah.
there's gotta be
There's not this many
painful
updates without pain.
Oh, absolutely not. So that was when when I was arrested, she was so angry at me, and my cousin was there to console her. One thing led to another, and they had spicy sleep. It happened only one time, and she was faithful to me ever since. She was willing to take a lie detector test to prove it.
Lie detector tests don't mean shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're
Inaccurate?
fake, bro.
Oh yeah, if you know how to manipulate it, like the cousin does, then it doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't. Yeah, lie detectors are pseudoscience.
Oh, didn't know that. So I asked her how long she knew Luna wasn't mine, and she started crying more. I think we know the answer. That look she gave me just told me that she knew from day one.
How did she know from day one?
30% of couples.
Probably because of exactly what?
30% of couples they get together can get pregnant after a month.
Mm.
And also what you said earlier, he found out he was in prison for 1 month. He found out the month after, so 2 months after he entered jail, I should say, she found out she was pregnant. Which means like she would have to be like he would have to have gotten her pregnant like probably just before he got into jail, and then she would be like super
Overly pregnant.
pregnant for just revealing it, you know what I'm saying? Like it's the math is not quite mathing. It's possible, but it was unlikely, and here we are. So I asked her to leave. She wanted to go to counseling, telling me that I'm overreacting and we could make it work. It was in the past and I needed to get over it. That I am Luna's father despite what happened, and I allowed my temper to get the best of me. I must have repeated "get over it" a dozen times at full volume while grabbing her crap and tossing it out the door. I called her a lying whore. I told her that I didn't want to see her effing face again, and I told her that this life that I built no longer belongs to her before pushing her out the door. A couple of weeks went by, and she kept blowing up my phone. Not once Luna tried to reach out to me. Marisol was shocked to learn that I had sold my business. Even more so when she learned that I had an open house. She came in screaming, telling the viewers to get out of her house and pleading with me to seek help, that I was ruining our marriage. That's kind of unhinged.
Ruining our marriage?
Dude.
You mean when you went and had a child with another man, that wasn't ruining the marriage? No. That was just
lied to me for 15 years.
That's a simple mistake anyone can make, you know?
Dude, God. It was an accident.
It was an accident.
That I had no right to sell our home. The home we raised our child in, and I told her that this is a house full of lies.
I raised your child in.
Ooh, fire. It's a house where I raised another man's child in.
Oh, damn, dude. We're just like on the same wavelength.
And when I sell it, I will give her half and order her to get out before I call the cops. Okay, so he's still giving her half of the sale of the house, which has got to be the majority of his financial
Although
assets.
I wonder what the deal is with selling an asset co-owned. Like, do you have to have both members sign on to selling the house? Like he might be in a little legal.
Maybe I'm
issue.
not 100% clear, but maybe she is like on the deed. But I think he paid for it. It might be under his name. I'm not sure. Actually. I will give her half and ordered her to get out before I called the cops. It was a bluff. All she had to do was play the victim, and I would have been arrested, but she didn't. She complied. Shortly after this, my cousin came to talk to me, and I knocked him out. Kept his word. Dragged him outside and closed the door. I refused mediation. Marisol wanted to reconcile, but I didn't. I wanted a divorce, and my attorney filed for a fast-track divorce, and in 3 months, we were in Nassau County Courthouse. I barely spoke to anyone during that time. I read horror stories about the court system, especially during divorce proceedings, but I didn't have that. I had a female judge who was very fair. And also, like, I feel like OP's case, like, she had the child and lied for 15 years. He has all the text saying, like, oh,
Yeah.
we'll just get it.
Man has receipts up the wazoo.
Yeah, he's got a super strong case, so I'm not super surprised. My attorney took care of everything. First, Marisol's lawyer tried to talk about my past when I was in a gang, as if my past barred for a reason for me to be a terrible husband and father, but my attorney quickly smacked that down, and the judge reprimanded her attorney for trying to shame someone who turned their life around. My attorney presented all the evidence and offered a lump sum alimony payment with the pending sale of the house and business. At first, Marisol kept asking me to reconsider because she knows, like, you know, yeah, I can get this one-time payout, but, like, could I be good for life?
Yeah.
Because she was for 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
But I ignored her. And when she finally realized that I'm not budging, she agreed. Yet, the real surprise happened when it came to child support. You see, my attorney presented all of the text messages from Luna's conversation with Marisol, showing that not only Luna knew that I am not her father, but she cannot wait to be with her real father, saying that she no longer has to live a lie. Marisol was completely caught by surprise from this. Then my attorney filed a motion to have my name removed from Luna's birth certificate, have my last name removed as well as not being responsible for any child support since all parties agree that my cousin was her father.
Oh.
Which, one, he did, I mean, he paid for a private school. Like,
Yeah.
I would say he went above and beyond, you know,
Regular father.
regular quote-unquote
duties.
father duties, right? For
Can
15 years.
Can he sue for child support backdated or something?
I was wondering if he could sue for, it's almost like him suing them for backdated child support, maybe a double whammy on cousin.
Yeah.
He sues the cousin for the money he spent, and cousin gets requested by court to back
Yeah.
pay the 15 years. That's what
that
I'm
would
wondering.
be crazy.
So Marisol was shocked at this, yelled at me, begged me not to do this to Luna, that I am her father because I raised her. And as pathetic as I may sound right now, but if Luna didn't act that way towards me, if she didn't say those things, I would have agreed. There were moments that I wanted to reach out and try to make it work. But then I would look at Luna's continuing text messages to her friends. Oh, he's still...
Yeah.
Oh, dude, the
Oh.
tablet always does it. Always
the
does it.
freaking iPad.
I would look at Luna's continuing text messages to her friends, her real father, her mother, and I would refocus on my resolve. Till this day, I don't know what hurts the most. Being lied to by a woman who you thought was the love of your life, or having a child who you tried to make their lives better, to give them the world, just to have them toss you aside like trash. The judge was quiet for a long while, reading the messages, page after page after page of these texts. In the end, she agreed. I was not financially responsible for Luna, and my name could be removed. My attorney also filed a motion for the courts to go after my cousin to pay for child support, and a motion to sue my cousin in civil court for the money I spent raising Luna.
Oh,
Cousin's about to get the hammer.
dude, I can tell that the
Justice.
next service at church, he's like, "Hey guys, we should up our tithe
Yeah.
to 20%."
Hey guys, we're doing a fundraiser. It's called Support Your Cheating Pastors, okay? Dude, also just like, I don't know. It just always annoys me when it's like people in the position like a pastor
Yeah,
that's like doing this crap.
yeah, because people like everyone does bad things, but it definitely doesn't help when you have that kind of
Yeah,
that
it's
job.
just-
yeah.
it's just, my God.
Yeah.
So the private schools, dance lessons, Girl Scouts, horseback lessons, everything I ever spent on that child. And
Ooh.
after my attorney explained to the judge that my cousin had committed fraud for knowingly allowing me to raise his daughter and not offer any financial support or assistance, it was a Hail Mary, and the dang judge agreed to it.
Oh my
Whoa.
gosh.
I didn't bother looking at Marisol when the judge made her decision. I didn't bother listening to her as I walked out of the courthouse. I didn't care as I heard her cry. Her telling me that she only cheated one time and was faithful ever since. I just didn't care anymore. A few weeks later, my ex called me, shocked that I stopped payments on Luna's private schools and all of her activities. And I told her to call her baby daddy before hanging up on her. Even Luna called me, the first time since the entire ordeal. And she effing calls me crying that she has to go to public school, that they were moving to the old neighborhood and how scary it was and how she wanted us to be a family again. I told her to go to her real father, the man who she truly wanted, and ask him. I yelled at her and told her that not only she knew for years, but I read all the text messages, the back and forth, and from her own words, she was thankful that a hoodlum like me wasn't her father.
That's gotta be so hurtful.
So much pain going back and forth right now. Even though I haven't been a hoodlum since the day I found out I was going to be a father. I hung up on her after that. I made my cousin pay. He had to pay me $500,000.
From where?
the big guy.
Yeah, those tithing 20%. You know, he's gotta round up.
That's 50%, man. That's gonna. Oh my gosh, $500,000. $500,000.
I mean,
Wait,
think
what's
about
the average pastor's salary?
Oh, dude, 34K a year. I'm sorry. I'm just
Let's see.
financial
GPT.
gain. Yeah.
Yeah,
What is a average?
dude. But I wouldn't be surprised. That I feel like it's a pretty good guess.
Dude, no freaking way.
Talk to me.
Median is 58,000. The bottom is 35K, and the top is 96K.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of like big churches out
Yeah,
there.
that's true.
I could see that like 100K for those.
58K. So he
58
only
is a
has to live on $8,000 a year for 10 years.
but while raising his new child.
Yeah.
Maybe.
How expensive are kids?
Yeah, dude, not expensive at all.
8,000.
Hey, you know what's really cheap? College. What she's about to be going to in a few years.
God, dude, just go to public university. You only need $800 a month for a kid and yourself.
Oh my gosh.
Man's
Judge
got it.
Has no mercy.
Yeah. God has mercy. I don't. That is exactly what Opie said. Shout out to Rick Ross.
Pray to your God for a lottery ticket.
$500,000 that was all mine, and not 1 cent of it belonged to my ex because she agreed on the lump sum. Wow. Hopefully we see what the lump sum is. I imagine it's significantly less.
Wow.
I didn't care that the money came from the church. I was hurting. I left New York shortly after. I went to Idaho. As
Wait,
furthest,
the money came from the church? So is there like cheating insurance or something?
well, I mean, like, I think he's saying it came from the church because, like, oh, he's paid from the church and he has to pay.
Wait, but so he took $500,000 from the church?
I mean, my guess is,
There's no way the pastor
No,
has $500,000 saved, or maybe he does. He has $500,000 saved up.
No.
I think it's saying like he gets paid from the church and then maybe you could be right, but my guess is that it's like he's taking from the church because it's like coming
But it's
out of
$500,000 lump sum, all at once. So what it sounds
No.
like.
The wife agreed to a lump sum payment from him. So I left New York shortly thereafter, went to Idaho, as furthest away from New York as possible. There's further places, but I just picked a random state and a city and I just left. I opened up a new shop, got a house, but for 2 years, I had trust issues. For 2 years, I saw a therapist, anger management. I went to rage rooms. It was difficult until I found myself going to a church, and ironically, that is where I met my fiance.
Dude,
Losing how
man
you
has
get
a
'em.
thing for church
Brother.
girls. Did
John-
you not learn from your first church girl?
Oh, buddy.
Dude,
Turn the
nothing
other
good
cheek,
has
they
happened
say.
to you.
Turn
Right.
the other cheek, they say.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he did. He turned some
He
cheeks.
did.
Jocelyn was wonderful. She just turned 30 at the time, and we just hit it off. I told her everything that happened to me. I explained to her that I'm going to have trust issues, and she understood. A year later, she told me I was going to be a dad and insisted that for me to have a DNA test just so I can have peace of mind.
That's nice of her.
Oh,
W.
wow.
That's
W
nice.
move.
W move. Nice
Yeah.
of her. Nice of her.
And you know what? I love the communication where he's like, "Hey, I'm laying out everything. I'm going to have trust issues." She's like, I'm on board. You told me. And now she's like, "Hey, I'll do things like the DNA test to give
Yeah.
you this." This is an example of communicating your traumas and stuff
Yeah.
and then working through it as a couple. I love it. I forgot what it felt like to be happy again. And when my son was born, I was overjoyed.
Oh, dude, I'm just again waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Stop.
I called my grandmother for the first time in years. She cried, and when I told her about my son, she insisted that I come to New York so she could meet her great-grandchild, guilt-tripping me by saying that she's 90 and would like to see me one more time, and I agreed.
Nah, Grandma, you got to come to me.
Yeah. We flew to, OP's so used to, like, after just winning all the chips, he's like, no, I got the hand, Granny.
Yeah.
I got the aces. We flew to New York, rented a car, and drove to Bushwick. The one thing I dislike about the hood, you only need to see one person from your past, and the whole effing neighborhood knows that you're back.
Oh, dang.
My
I kinda
grandma,
like that. It's like a cool community.
it's community. That's
Yeah,
what
that's-
community
that's
is,
it.
But
right?
with that history, you don't want anyone.
Yeah,
to-
you don't. Yeah. That's the you should be like, oh, hey, dude, how you been? Oh, da 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 da. Oh, yeah, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Blah. It's like, oh, hey, Opie's back. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah.
God. Was the pastor around?
Yeah, remember the guy that
Tell
was
cousin Carl
raising
to
a
run.
kid?
Oh man. He's like, how's life been?
Josephine Madole-Burkhart says, "Is it a trap? I see you."
Oh, great girl.
Oh.
Is it a
Josephine.
trap?
Josephine.
Josephine.
Great
No.
point. That's, yeah, I think so.
No.
So,
And the whole family's there. It's an intervention.
Yep.
It's an intervention.
Yep. Give us the 500 grand.
No.
Yeah. Here we go. So, my grandmother saw my son, met my fiance, and made an offshoot comment in Spanish about her being white, and I just yes her to death. I was Riley like that. I was planning to spend the week, do the tourist thing for once. It was Jocelyn's first time in her life in the Big Apple, and I wanted to make it special. Dang it, nothing works out as planned. First, my ex shouted my name from downstairs.
Marisol.
No,
No.
she's back.
Ah.
I looked out the window and was surprised at how fat she got.
She's back and she's fat.
Oh,
Back bigger than ever.
with a big bag. I'm sorry.
Notice she's at the
How
bottom
can I
of
be
the stairs.
fatphobic? I want my bank account to be. Well, that's all I can say.
Hey,
She's at
what
the bottom
crap.
of the stairs because she can't break it
God.
up.
Oh boy. So my grandmother told me in Spanish to talk to her, and Jocelyn agreed. Jocelyn agreed.
Wow.
So I went downstairs.
Because God knows she's not coming up those stairs.
Oh God. I went downstairs, was awkwardly silent for a minute, and that anger just came back like a flood. Marisol told me I looked good, and I said she looked like crap. She told me that she missed me, that she had never been with another man since a divorce, and I ignored her. She even had the audacity to tell me that I'm a grandfather.
Oh. Hey,
Luna had a kid.
no way.
And I gave her a look. Apparently, Luna got with a decent guy and got knocked up at 18. Her baby daddy joined the Marines to support him, and her father wanted nothing to do with her. He just pays the child support and refuses to acknowledge her.
Oh, the pastor.
He's no longer a pastor,
Oh.
and he is working at the Banco Popular 2 blocks over. Then she told me that Luna named the baby after me, and I couldn't stand looking at her. I love how everything is like, she told me this thing. I absolutely hated it. She told me she loved me. I told her I absolutely hated her. Marisol wanted me to wait because Luna was on her way over.
Oh heck.
And I just walked away.
Damn.
I went to my grandmother's house, and I didn't have to tell Jocelyn anything.
I really want the cousin to be back. I want to see the pastor and him just to knock him out.
I saw him. I knocked
Knocked
him
him
out. I'm surprised he actually didn't get any assault charges or
Yeah,
any
yeah.
issues in the
Yeah, but this is like
But-
this is
but
like
I
a
mean,
rough and
pastor,
tumble
dude.
neighborhood. Yeah.
Turn your
He-
cheek when you get hit.
like low key. Like if anyone deserves to get smacked around,
It's the pastor.
It is
Yeah, yeah.
cousin pastor.
Cousin pastor.
Cousin pastor. Oh God. She knew, and we just left. In the elevator, I told her what happened, and she smiled and told me that everything was going to be all right. The look on Marisol's face when I left the building. She was looking at my fiance like she was the other woman, and Jocelyn, without missing a beat, introduced my son to her. Well, she said, I would like you to meet his biological child. Ooh! Ice cold!
Dang, because he hasn't had a biological child.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Dude,
Whoa.
that was a knife twist, but she knew my pain. Marisol kept trying to stop me from leaving, telling me that Luna felt bad about what she did. And
You did good.
Good.
Jesus Christ. That's
Yeah.
the least you could do.
Dude, for
She
real.
just felt bad. She didn't like send a postcard or freaking some flowers.
Bro.
Sorry, I hated you, Dad.
She kept telling me that Luna felt bad at what she did, and Jocelyn wanted me to make amends, but I was so angry. I hopped into the car, ignoring Marisol's pleas, and Jocelyn told me to extend an olive branch, so I gave her my number so Luna could call me, and I left. At the red light, I saw my cousin
Yes. Knock him
by
out.
the Cutrito
Knock him
stand,
out.
and I don't know what came over me. I got out of the car, ran up to him, beat the crap out of him. Jocelyn was screaming, telling me to stop, and when we locked eyes, I could see the fear. I spit on him and left.
Dang, you didn't knock him out.
Dude,
But close.
I'm back home, working, being a dad, and a good fiance to a beautiful woman. Yet, since going back, when I'm alone with my thoughts, my anger comes back. Luna did text me with a picture of her son smiling and telling me that she was sorry for what she did. Yet, I don't know if she's sorry that she missed me or if she's sorry because she wanted me to be her father, or if she was sorry that the man she wanted to be her father wasn't the man she thought she was.
Or she's sorry she's missing out on that $500K.
And more, dude. Bro, Opie's got it. Got it
like that.
I'm so confused and I'm scared to reach out to her. I wanted to get past this. I wanted to move on. My family was everything. My daughter was my world. And even after all these years, it still hurts. Still makes me angry, but I need to move on, but it's hard. I want to reach out to Luna, but I'm so scared. I have people telling me to let her back in, but all I could think about are those text messages and lies, the constant lies. I need help, and my usual methods are not working. Thank you for reading this. I needed to vent, like I mentioned. I don't care if you think this is fake. I really don't give a rat's patootie, but your help is appreciated. And there is a fat update.
There's an update.
We're only halfway through.
There's an update.
Oh, there's an update, my friend. We're only halfway done here.
Oh, my
okay, we
God.
still have a whole however much we just did left to go. Waiting for the mods to approve this. It's been a while, and yesterday was Father's Day. Luna tried calling me several times, and I looked at the phone. I wanted to answer, but I didn't. It kept lingering in my mind. All that kept lingering in my mind was those messages. What she said to her mother, to her real father, her friends, so I ignored it. Eventually, I listened to her voicemail, and she sounds so cheerful. She briefly apologized to her actions, but to me, it didn't sound sincere, just passive. Maybe I'm overthinking it. She mentioned about her son, her fiance, and asked me to call her. Simple requests, and I became infuriated. My grandmother and my fiance are telling me to give her a chance, but when I asked my grandmother if Luna or Marisol ever asked about me in those 4 years I left, she said Marisol did constantly, but not Luna. So in my twisted mind, I think Luna wants me in her life
to have her child
taken care of. It's possible. It's,
let's see what Luna says.
We'll see. Yeah, I think it's way unfair to judge it right now. Or maybe she wants to milk me, and that made me so angry. Even Marisol tried calling me constantly, and I'm already thinking about changing my number. So I spent the majority of Father's Day in the gym, hitting the heavy bag, and I have an appointment today with an anger management group. Maybe they can give me an outside opinion. If this ever gets published by the mods, I would like to get your opinion as well. We're here. In the meantime, I'm just figuring this out on my own. There is another update. I think we're going to get a series of updates, and we're going to keep going. So I would like to thank Lugion Fiji 42 for his advice on sending an email as a start. I sent an email to Luna that simply said, "What do you want?" Didn't expect the multi-paragraph response. She sent the email profusely apologizing for how she acted. She said she found out I wasn't her when she found out I wasn't her father, she was angry. She confronted her mother and she cried, making her promise not to tell me. Since she felt lost, she began to talk to my cousin, her real father, more and more. He told her of my violent past, the things I used to do, things that I kept a secret from her. So now we're finally getting to how the well was poisoned. This made her angry, and the more they spent time together, the more she pulled away from me. She said she felt bad from time to time, but my cousin would reinforce her negative feelings towards me. The day of the quinceañera, she said while we were dancing, she realized how stupid she was acting. Remember when he was like, she came to me smiling? Literally how tragically prophetic is it that in the mere minutes before it would all go down,
the texts were constant throughout, though,
and afterwards,
but not until that moment.
But if my memory serves me correctly, chat, correct me if I'm wrong, he still had the iPad and he kept collecting texts as evidence after the quinceañera.
Yeah.
Which would mean,
and there felt like there was no change in the context of the text the whole time. It wasn't like as it was getting closer to the quinceañera, she was like feeling better about her feelings. It was pretty constant throughout that whole time.
Yeah. Well, she said she realized how stupid she was acting. She realized how much I loved her, and then her messages appeared on screen. In the days that followed, she was told by my wife's side of the family to give me space, to not call me, and she listened. She said she was watching her family fall apart because of her, and she couldn't do anything to fix it. She told me she understood why I did what I did, yet she wanted to reach out. Her grandfather kept telling her that I loved her, that I raised her, and despite what I saw through her messages, I will do the right thing, and she believed him. During the divorce, her mother fell into a dark place. Not talking to her, barely eating, she was just existing. When she found out that my name was removed from her birth certificate, she said she had a panic attack. Her mother told her that they will have to move back to Brooklyn, and when she asked about her life in school, her mother told her, that was the life your father gave you, and he's not your father anymore. So she called me begging, and I cursed her out and then hung up. That's the call where it's like, what about, are you going to keep paying for private school? I don't want to move back here. I'm scared. She cried for days. She tried to reach out to my cousin, the pastor, who pretty much ignored her. She even went to the church, and he told her to leave and called her a mistake.
Wait, but wasn't that like the cousin was trying to get close to Luna and stuff, and then
my God.
My theory there,
just to F with OP.
just to F with OP, maybe it was like, I think this guy's a maniac, and I think he didn't want to introduce them. I think he always liked Marisol. He got with Marisol afterwards as some kind of, weird, psychotic, whatever's going on in his crazy brain. And then I think he liked the validation of the girl of Luna being like, oh, you're my real father. I want to spend time with you. Like, I'm excited to, be with you. And he was just doing it for the ego boost of like, yes, I'm going to be this great father, whatever. And then as soon as it wasn't advantageous or wasn't feeding his ego.
Yeah. Dude.
Boom, gone.
That sounds like a psycho.
She went to, he called her a mistake. Her mother refused to talk to her, basically locked herself in a room, only leaving to use the bathroom or take a shower. She begged her grandfather to take her to see me, and when they came to Long Island, she learned I had moved away. Her grandfather told her that he will talk to my grandmother and find out where I went. For the next 2 years, according to her, it was hell. The entire neighborhood knew what happened to her and her mother. Her father avoided her at all costs and tried not to pay child support. It took her grandfather to threatening him to start paying. In the meantime, her mother didn't talk to her. She was just locked in her room. The few times they did speak, she called her an ungrateful girl, and she was the reason she lost the love of her life.
Dang.
Her grandmother had to put her mother in her place by telling her that her infidelity was the reason she lost the love of her life, and she locked herself back in the room. So Luna barely stayed home, and that was how she met the father of her child. He worked in the corner bodega, and they were the same age, and after a few months of talking, one thing led to another, and she ended up pregnant.
Fertile group.
Huh?
A fertile group.
A fertile group indeed. Her grandfather was furious, but when her boyfriend insisted that he would marry her, that cooled things down. Luna said her pregnancy was a blessing in disguise. Her mother began talking to her again and even began leaving the room to be by her side for every checkup. Being a senior in high school while pregnant was cliche, but she made it work. A month before the baby was born, she graduated and her boyfriend joined the Marines. He wanted to elope before leaving, but she wants a real wedding, a full wedding. Her boyfriend had no issues naming his son after me. Apparently, his own father was absent, and the fact that he was a junior was a reminder that he shared the name of a man who didn't want him. What is that?
Like he was junior.
Like John Jr.
Like John
Sam
Jr. Yeah.
SJ, JJ.
But
His dad. So like it's like, all right, John, I'm your father,
Yeah.
and I name you Sam Jr.
Yes.
I'm like, fuck, I don't want you, and I leave. And then now you are named after someone who didn't want you.
Yep. And then now you are married to a girl that their father also didn't want her, and they were like, "Can we name him after my dad?"
Crazy.
He's like, "Sure."
True. Yeah. Yeah. He's like the real dad that was in the scenario the whole time. The only real dad.
The
But
dad,
that real dad
the
left
person,
her.
the person
Yeah.
that named me doesn't want me.
Yeah.
The person whose name I have.
So when she heard I was in town, she got a speeding ticket trying to get to my grandmother's apartment. She wanted to see me. However, when she was late, she cried. When her mother gave her my number, she wanted to call me immediately, but the entire neighborhood was talking on how I beat her father up, so she waited. Her mother was sad to see that her mother was sad to see that I moved on and have a son. Luna was happy to know that she had a little brother, but her mother became a little bit more depressed. I felt sorry for Marisol.
Oh, first
This
time.
is the first time. After I read the email, I called Marisol and asked her if this was all true, that she refused to talk to Luna for years and blaming her for our divorce. She confirmed it. And at first I yelled at her, but I regained my composure when I heard her crying. I told her to move on, find someone else, but she said no. She told me that I was her husband and I will always be her husband.
Not legally.
Yeah, it's kind of not true anymore. It broke my heart a little. I then had my grandmother go to see my cousin so I could talk to him. You know, a little talk number one and talk number two. The second he heard my voice, he began to cry and he begged me to forgive him.
So I knocked
him out. No, I just asked him a question. I asked him,
do you want a knuckle sandwich?
That's a great question. I asked him why he didn't want to be a father to Luna, why he poisoned her against me, and he said it was envy. He was in love with Marisol.
We freaking called it.
We
freaking
everything
called it.
In this story.
The Nostradamus of Reddit right here, ladies
my
and
God.
gentlemen.
Why? He was in love with Marisol, and I took her from him. When I was arrested, he consoled her, manipulated her, and barely lasted a second with her, and she realized what she had done and shoved him off her, but he already came. Literally. That's not a euphemism, ladies and gentlemen.
Damn.
When she found out she was pregnant, dude.
He barely lasted a second.
But one shot Carl, he sent it in.
Damn.
He sent it in.
He sent his soldiers.
You know?
One pump
They
cause.
blasted through. It's freaking having a
One
fire
pump
hose of the UK special sauce.
Everyone's so fertile here. What the hell?
Yeah,
this-
also the UK special sauce is a reference to the fact that UK Secret Service men use semen to write secret notes to each other.
And we're not talking about the Navy. So when she found out she was pregnant, she knew the baby was his. They both knew. It was supposed to be a secret. Marisol took her double hysterectomy as God's punishment for her infidelity and deceit. When Luna turned 13, he was drunk. Seeing my life and envy was the one sin he couldn't shake. The one sin you couldn't shake? Oh my God. So he wanted to ruin it. And he did. I told him when we see each other again in hell, I will be his eternal torturer, and hung up on him. Dude, I'm sorry, but the way he hates on this guy is just, I don't know why I love it so much.
Dude,
I'm
it's
sorry.
so much fear. He's like, every time you see me, I'm going to knock you out.
Yeah, dude.
And when we both get to hell together, I'm still going to
He's like
I'm
so
still gonna
good at
knock you out.
torturing him. Oh my God. I will knock you out for eternity. Jocelyn was there for me. She told me that everything will be okay.
What a woman. Oh my God.
Dude, yeah, Jocelyn. I feel like Jocelyn's like, she's like, hey, go to forgive her. And she holds him down. Like Jocelyn's really good.
This
Dude,
is what a
Josh is
church
a
girl
W.
should be, right here.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Luna and I chatted back and forth through email. I spoke to her on the 4th. She spent over an hour crying while talking to me. I even spoke to her boyfriend, who asked me permission to marry her.
All right, that's kind of a W.
Cute
That's kind of a W.
I thought it was funny, but honorable. What if he said like, ask her real dad? Dude, another chance to just do the dunk. But he didn't take it. He's good. My wedding is next month, and Jocelyn wants me to invite Luna.
Huh?
At the same time, Luna wants me to give her away for the wedding in November. Ask her
Wow.
real dad.
Yeah.
Just kidding. My future father-in-law sat me down and told me that he couldn't grasp my situation, but respect the road I took.
Dude, I could barely grasp the situation.
Dude,
I
who
just
can?
heard- yeah, this is nuts.
Who can? Because the road to save his little girl gave him a handsome grandson, a future son-in-law that he would kill for. That made me laugh. But he told me that I need to let go of the anger and start forgiving but never forget. And he's right.
Dude, OP's having some character development
Character
right here.
development out the wazoo.
That's what I like to see.
So we gave Luna an invite to my wedding, even offered to pay for their plane ticket with that sweet 500 grand sitting in his bank account.
Go, gaining interest.
Yeah, for real. Her boyfriend, or should I say fiance, said that he will work it off at my garage when they arrive. I kind of like him. So as for me giving her away, I don't know yet. Let's see how the wedding happens. First, his wedding. Thank you again for the advice and the few DMs. No one was rude or disrespectful. A miracle, another miracle. You guys helped me so much. I'll update if something happens. But for now, I guess I'll get things ready for my wedding next month. You think it's done?
Oh, it's not done?
You think it's over?
No way.
Keep your butts sated!
No way.
Because not only is it what might be the final update, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I think we get to see the weddings. A lot has happened in such a short window. Again, I would like to thank the large number of supports within the DMs. Of course, they were hate messages, but I would call to say those. But all I could say to those people, what you've done and what I did are two different mindsets. And until you go through the same situation or something similar, don't tell me how I should have felt. Leading up to the wedding, I was already on eggshells. Jocelyn was the happiest I've ever seen. My in-laws were freaking out due to the number of people that were coming. I swear, I think the whole town came. While all of this was happening, I was an hour and a half away in Boise waiting for Luna and her family to arrive at the airport. In the days leading up to her visit, we spoke a lot. Her mostly crying, apologizing, and me just listening. And when she couldn't speak anymore, I was talking to her fiance, who was more down to earth. When the plane landed, I was so scared. Not for seeing her again, but I was afraid due to my anger. I was afraid that I would lose my temper. The second she saw me in the terminal, she ran to me, crying. And for a split second, I saw my daughter when she was 7 years old. It was weird, picturing a child in my mind. She ran, screaming, "Daddy," and the second she hugged me, she began to cry loudly. It was a wail that caused so many people to look at us. She just kept saying sorry over and over again, asking me to forgive her, and I just held her for over 15 minutes. She refused to let me go. It took her fiance and I to convince her to do so. It was as if she felt the second she let go, I was going to vanish. After she composed herself, her fiance properly introduced himself, and then they introduced me to their child. I won't lie. I cried. I wasn't angry, but I cried holding the infant. Luna was also the spitting image of her mother when she was 19, which made me wonder about Marisol. During the drive home, we talked about her fiance's boot camp, how he's going to be a career man, how Luna was going to college online to learn accounting, and mostly just catching up on conversations. When we arrived at my house, Jocelyn and her family had a spread ready for them. Since we've been together, Jocelyn learned how to cook Spanish food, but the week leading up to Luna's visit, she went a little overboard. Yet, I get it. She wanted to make a good impression. Her and Luna just hit it off. Every few minutes, Luna would walk towards me and just give me a quick hug and go back to Jocelyn. I was just holding my son and my grandson.
Aww.
Dude, bro. While Jocelyn was introducing Luna to her family, I put the babies to bed and I went to the porch for some fresh air. Luna's fiance was standing by the foot of the yard, staring at all the bisons roaming around. Dude, Opie's got a sick pad, dude. In his backyard, there's
Backyard bisons?
Bro,
Sheesh.
that's insanity. For a moment, I wanted to give him the dad talk, but I felt like it wasn't my place. Instead, I asked him how he liked the view, and he was awestruck. He's like, "Hey man, how do you like my crib? It costs 500 grand. I know the feeling. Living in the city the majority of your life, wide open spaces are a marvel to take in. After a minute or two, he looked at me and told me how regretful Luna was. I've been with your daughter for 3 years, and not one day goes by when she mentioned how much she misses you and how she regrets what she did. Out of everything he told me, that single sentence constantly replays in my mind. Her fiance's name is Roberto. For a man who is 19 years old, he acts and talks like a man in his 30s. That tells me he had a rough life to mature quickly. I know the feeling.
Oof.
The following day, I had to go to a shop, and Luna practically jumped in the car with the baby. Even Roberto told her that it was okay and to enjoy herself. Luna looked like she was going to hyperventilate, and I told her that we'll work a half day and I'll spend the rest of the day with her.
Oh.
That seemed to do it, and I slowly began to realize how traumatized Luna was. During the drive, I asked Roberto how bad was she. She has severe abandonment issues, constantly afraid that he's going to leave her, despite him telling her that he will never do that. She calls him a lot, a bit clingy at times, and in the beginning, afraid to be herself in fear that they will just break up. He had to reaffirm his love for her just so she could let her guard down a little. This was my doing. I know that, but he doesn't blame me. He told me he completely understood why I did what I did. Allow me to say that Roberto is a terrible mechanic. He knows nothing about cars. So I had him clean up the shop so he could work off the plane tickets. We closed early, and when we arrived, Luna practically ran towards me. She looked unhinged. I told her that I'll be back, and she went to her fiance. When I walked into my house, Jocelyn told me that Luna needs to be reminded that everything is going to be fine, that I won't leave her again. Jocelyn, again, just coming in.
Yeah, Jocelyn's the rock of this story.
Absolute G. I didn't know what to say, but Jocelyn grabbed my hand and told me that Luna is hurting and she needs her father. For the next couple of days, I spent all of my time with Luna, getting reacquainted with her. I told her I took her to my in-laws' ranch, and I showed her the bisons, the elks, and took her on a hike. 2 days before the wedding, I apologized to her for leaving. I apologized for the way I acted. I apologized for the actions I took. She didn't want to hear any of it. She told me there's nothing that I should apologize for. She said she knows she was the reason why it fell apart, and that she knows it was her fault, and I had to stop her. I began to cry, and I told her it wasn't her fault at all. I was angry. I was hurting, and despite what had happened, I should be the one who apologizes. We both cried and just held each other. By the way, if you want to shed a tear with us, come join us every weekday at 3 p.m. PST for moments like these.
Just tap our profile.
Just tap our profile. Now, Luna appears to be slightly better. On the day of my wedding, she was happy. In the last minute, Jocelyn made her into a bridesmaid and Roberto into a groomsman. That's adorable. Dude.
Wow.
The wedding was beautiful. During the reception, I asked the DJ to play the song from Luna's quinceañera, and I asked her to dance with me. She was crying the entire time. From trauma or love, who knows?
Yeah.
Holding on to me for dear life as we danced. I haven't felt this happy in a long time. I let Luna and her fiance stay in my house, taking care of her little brother while I went to Hawaii for my honeymoon. When we got home, she was happy. She hugged us, and it felt great. Roberto told me that he's going to Camp Dwyer in Afghanistan and would like to know if Luna could stay near us. He would pay for an apartment near us until he could buy a house. Of course, I said yes. They went back to the city the day before yesterday. Like I said, it's been eventful. Luna's wedding is in November, and Roberto is leaving in December. Roberto sent me what constitute as a year's rent for a townhouse community 3 miles away from my house. However, Jocelyn suggests that we should put a double wide on our property for Luna and to let her save money to buy a house when Roberto
Yes.
gets back.
Gosh,
So,
no.
Marisol has been blowing up my phone, and based on the messages she left, she is not happy that Luna's moving.
Why?
Dude.
You ignored her for like 3 years.
Yeah.
What?
Come on, dude.
She was. I'm confused by that.
Right now, my focus is on my family and to mend my relationship with my daughter.
Is that it?
And that's
Yeah!
the end. Ow! Dude, I feel like we just watched a movie.
Wow.
That was beautiful.
Wow, I was riveted.
Dude.
Riveted.
What a great day of
What
stories.
a great story.
Dude, one of our
What
best
a
days
great
of stories
sto-
ever.
Oh my, I think that story is my favorite story that we've read.
Stop.
Potentially, at least in recent memory, and I'll admit my memory does not go that far back.
We've read so many stories.
But of recent memory, that is,
I
wow.
think so too, because I mean, dude, just you had this guy who was like, he had his flaws, but he was trying his hardest, right? He was still living with his flaws. He had the worst thing possible imagined to him. And to come full circle and be able to finally forgive himself, forgive all the people that hurt him, and now all of this good coming out of it, and that
was beautiful.
Just, dude, I'm imagining, dude, the end credits of the scene is the sun setting on the bison roaming in the pastures.
I know,
him
it's
holding his babies, him, his whole family there.
So good.
Marisol crying at McDonald's. Just beautiful.
Am I the a-hole for cutting off my cousin and her mom after they accused me indirectly of stealing at her wedding? This episode is all about what do we allow family to get away with?
Stealing, I guess.
Yeah, and murder.
Yay.
This comes from Annoyed Cousin Throw, and they say, hey, Reddit, I'm in a tough spot and could really use some outside perspective on the situation. So my cousin Emma and I have never been particularly close, but we've always been civil. When she got engaged in December 2022, I sent her a thoughtful present, which she thanked me for repeatedly. Fast forward to February, and Emma invited me to her wedding in April 2024. Living abroad and starting a new job, I made it clear that I needed advance notice to attend, and thankfully, I managed to make it. Emma asked me to be a part of her wedding entry, and despite not being very close, I agreed, hoping it would help us build a better relationship. Just a week before the wedding, I found out she'd been talking negatively about me and my career as a project manager. It stung, but I didn't want to cause drama before her big day, so I kept quiet. Also, project manager is kind of like a coveted job.
It's such a respected and also neutral career. It's both you're very successful, and it's like, what are you gonna say? You're too organized.
Yeah.
What?
It doesn't make any sense. During the wedding weekend, I helped Emma get dressed for her Hindu ceremony, and her mom told me to leave the jewelry as she would handle it later. So I only packed away the bangles. The entry went smoothly, and I attended the reception without any complaints. However, after the wedding, I chose not to leave a gift, intending to address the hurtful comments privately after the festivities. Days later, Emma asked me about the missing jewelry, and I told her I hadn't touched it beyond what her mom instructed. Later that day, I saw Emma posting on Facebook about missing jewelry and implying that someone in the family may have taken it, and I felt uneasy, especially since her mom and I were the only family members helping her get dressed. Then things escalated when her sister made comments on the post saying, we didn't like her anyway. Her mom reached out to me asking about the bangles, which made me feel like they were singling me out. Even the grandmother called, further cementing that they may have discussed me as a suspect. Finally, another cousin messaged me saying the jewelry was found boxed up in a car. So no one actually stole it. They just misplaced it. But Emma refuses to retract her accusations online because she's embarrassed. Feeling betrayed, I chose to cut Emma and her mom out of my life. I deleted them from my socials and blocked their numbers. Now my grandma's upset, saying I was unfair for not explaining myself. So Reddit, am I the jerk for cutting them off without explanation? Should I have handled the situation differently? Thanks for your insights. And there are some relevant comments and an update. But John, is OP the a-hole for cutting out their cousin like this?
I'm wondering, it gets a little tricky with family. Is this there's no contact, low contact, and then no contact light?
Oh, yeah.
Where it's hey, maybe I block you, but okay, we go to family events and I'm cordial. If you say hi, I'll say hi back, whatever. But I'm not actively trying to engage. That enters a gray area where you're maybe causing issues for the other family members who are not involved and neutral.
Yeah,
people.
I mean, I feel like the fact that Emma, the cousin, didn't retract what she said on Facebook, red flag, that's totally terrible. And basically she's afraid of looking bad for making OP look bad. I think that's full license for OP to distance herself from them. So I don't think OP's the a-hole for blocking them, but just be cordial around in groups. I think if OP wanted to do the thing that accomplishes what she wants without the drama, all she maybe needs to do is just stop talking to them and not reach out.
Which sounds like is kind of that's the vibe that I'm getting.
Yeah, like maybe blocking them is what they were upset with. All she did was she cut them out of her life, and I deleted them from my socials and blocked their numbers. And the grandma is upset, saying I was unfair for not explaining myself, like explaining why she blocked them. So maybe you could say like, hey, I really don't think I want you in my life to the same degree, so I'm going to take a step back.
I think you could say like, hey, I thought it was like pretty unfair that you like accused me of this thing and you never really took it back or like apologized to me. I thought that was really not okay. And
I think if this was me, I would have a conversation and say why I'm distancing myself and then distance myself.
Yeah.
Without blocking, but not reaching out.
It almost sounds like also OP like told other family members or the grandma specifically that they blocked them.
The potential for it to cause more drama is higher when you say that.
Yes.
But there are some relevant comments and an update. So additional information from OP. I would like to add that Emma and I are first cousins. Jessica, who told me about the update, is a second cousin who is distant from Emma. So it sounds like this was being discussed with everyone but me. Thankful that Jessica heard it and decided to let me know immediately, and everyone decided OP is not the a-hole, which I think we agree with.
Nice.
OP, if she received an apology regarding the missing jewelry, OP said, no apologies from their end. All I've heard since was she's embarrassed to pull her posts and say she found it. Not even pulling the posts.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like at least delete the posts.
But she's so worried about herself, and she's like, I would rather, double down on a lie than make myself look bad.
But it's like this wouldn't even make her look that bad, just deleting the post. So why not do it?
Not at all. Yeah, it almost feels vindictive.
Yeah.
And Love Bubble says, so can we block the grandmother now?
Yeah, I think you could consider it, but at this point, I don't think I would block
way
the
too
grandmother.
early.
Way too early. Severe ad 7761 says, not the a-hole, probably way off. This was probably a setup. If she doesn't like you and y'all aren't that close, then why ask you along with her mother to help her get ready? Why not her sister? That last minute invite. It was either a happy coincidence to be able to accuse you or she set you up, but someone else discovered/found the jewelry where they weren't supposed to be looking. A box in a car that you would think would have already been taken out by now.
So are they saying that this was maybe an elaborate conspiracy setup?
Yeah, it was a setup, which honestly, I could believe.
That would be crazy and definitely grounds to block them.
OP responds, did not think about it this way. Her sister was popping in and out of the changing room. I did not think anything of it at the time. It's sick if they truly wanted to use this against me and not speak up. Even if they post a retraction, I want nothing to do with them. Accusing me and finding it just recently in your car is unacceptable. And on if her grandma has a favorite grandchild because of what happened, OP responds, Emma is grandma's favorite, by the way, if you couldn't tell.
If you're going to have a favorite, at least let them not be like stupid and evil. Maybe the grandma kind of knows that they did plan this and she doesn't really care.
Okay, why the cousin said something bad about OP before the wedding, about her job and stuff. I think the grandma's.
Oh, do you think the grandma is the mastermind? Yo, dude, we are popping off with conspiracy theories right now.
I think so.
So the grandma goes to OP and was like, "Hey, don't block them. Don't worry about it." She's like trying to be the one pulling the strings here. You know what I mean? And it seems like the cousin is kind of just being quiet and silent and not trying to be the manipulators try to pull all the strings. Yeah. Right. So if it was the bride, would the bride be like, hey, let me keep trying to pull the strings? Like, let me, instead of not just like ignoring it and not taking down the post, let me double down and do another post.
All right. So update.
Let's do it.
I read through the majority of messages received and I agree. I should have confronted it. Last night, I called Grandma and Emma on a three-way asking about the jewelry that was conveniently found in the car. Emma said that wasn't for me to find out, as she only told her mother and grandma. Obviously a lie, because Jessica heard and passed it to me. She also lives abroad and isn't close to Emma. Grandma then said, well, it's material and it's found. We don't have a long time here. Let's all get along.
Ooh, she's trying to sweep it under the rug.
Trying to sweep it under the rug.
Why? You want me looking into it? Grandma?
What else are you hiding, Grandma?
Yeah,
Am I
that's right.
even your real granddaughter?
It's
DNA
grandpa,
test?
DNA test.
Actually, my grandpa.
Yeah. I responded, no, thank you. I needed a public apology
Boom.
because I blindly believed Emma and I had a good relationship. I even heard she made comments about my job, which I wanted to address after the wedding. Emma confirmed the comments and the talking crap, re my job and her sister's comment, but is sticking to her guns about the jewelry. I mentioned to her I was posting on Facebook about the jewelry and will attach screenshots to it, and that I want nothing further to do with Emma since she was not remorseful and is proud of disliking me for whatever reason. Lesson learned. Thank you, everyone. Relevant comments. Blenders and Trim says, sorry that so many people in your family are horrible, OP. You deserve better. I could see how much you cared by willing to travel for a cousin you weren't even close with, you hope to get closer to, and how you reacted to their bullying. You're better off without them. Do make sure to get your side of the story to others in the extended family, because you can bet that everyone involved, possibly with your grandmother, seeing and not actively shutting down, will be telling a story to them where you are the bad guy. And OP does have a response, but Riley, what's up?
Holds the grandma. Because if the grandma was a little older,
Inheritance.
and if she frames
But-
OP for stealing the jewelry, she would get more of the inheritance.
Yes, but these are not aunts. If it was like OP's mom, then they would stand to inherit. So it's like one degree
Yes.
removed.
Well, I think she would still give stuff to
OP
the
might.
granddaughters. for the
Yeah, the
grandkids.
granddaughters might receive something, but probably the parents are
the
receiving.
parent, yeah.
Like
Okay.
I got no inheritance from my grandparents. They just left it to their direct children.
Dang.
But OP responds, that's what really hurt. I was hoping she was sincere about inviting me and asking me to participate. When she got engaged, I even sent her a present incorporating her interest, and she was so appreciative, or so she seemed. It sucks knowing I meant basically nothing. I was hurt that they never really liked me anyway and made fun of my job as a project manager at an engineering firm. Weird job to make fun of. Like, what are you doing?
Truly jealous.
Being married?
Yeah.
Jealous.
Have never done anything to them to warrant this. It's just confusing and hurtful. However, the Band-Aid is off and life will continue without them. OP on sharing her information with the extended family on social media about what really happened at the wedding. OP responds, I'm posting it this evening regardless if she takes it down or not. Jessica gave her blessings for me to use her messages as proof, so I'm not playing around. I am not a thief. I don't care if you like me or not. You're not going to get away with that.
Boom.
OP proceeding on how she dealt with the family talking badly behind her back and Emma's background on saying bad things about her. OP responds, that's my thing. Why are you embarrassed? You were emboldened to post about it and clearly discuss it offline with my name in it, which is how it got back to me. Emma does not have very many friends. She's one of those very religious, conservative girls, does not drink, smoke, party, have multiple partners, but if the same person for 10 years has good grades, etc. According to other cousins, she's very much about optics and very judgmental. Life will be perfectly fine without her, and I am looking forward to responses on my post clearing my name. And OP responds on how her grandma was upset with her cutting off the family and accusing her for ruining Emma's day. OP responds, correct. Grandma was one of the people questioning me, even though I gave the same answers, and wants me to explain why I'm cutting off my cousin and to dismiss it because it was found. How is that fair to me after I've been accused and had my name dragged through the mud?
I mean, I guess one question that comes to mind is like, how many people have seen the cousins like Facebook posts and actually believe that OP's
I think a lot.
It totally could be a lot. Given OP's visceral reaction, I was gonna say it could be a situation where it's like she made the post, but no one really cared, nobody really thought about it, and then it's like, okay, I don't know if it's worth giving it that energy. But if it is, that way, then it's like, okay, I think it is good to clear your name, and you do
Well,
deserve.
it's your
justice.
reputation. It's your
Yeah,
reputation.
It's your reputation, 100%.
And I think it is important to clear your name.
Yeah.
And I think we might be getting into some of that right now. So, final update, which is a lie. There's one more update after this.
Yes.
After consulting with an attorney friend and compiling all relevant evidence, including screenshots and messages, we took the step of sending a legal letter to my cousin. Additionally, I made a post on Facebook tagging my family members, family friends who attended the event, the priest who officiated, and even her neighbors. Yep, my petty booty went the extra mile to bring awareness of the situation.
Oof.
So now we are getting to the actual email.
I think I was not understanding how much of an impact it was having on
Yeah,
OP's reputation.
Everyone in their family is like, this person's terrible.
Yes.
And OP was like, hey, you have an opportunity to do this yourself. All right, you're not going to do it. I'm
Yes.
stepping in.
100%.
So, important announcement regarding Emma's wedding. Hello, everyone in the Brown family. I hope this message finds you well. I feel compelled to address a matter that has been weighing on my mind since Emma's wedding last April. Firstly, I want to express my gratitude to Emma for inviting me to be part of her special day. It was an honor to participate, and I genuinely was touched by the opportunity. However, recent events have left me deeply disheartened. It has come to my attention that there have been discussions both prior to and following the wedding where unkind remarks were made about me and my profession. While this was hurtful, I chose to handle the situation delicately and intended to discuss it with Emma after the wedding to gain clarity. Despite the hurtful comments, I remained committed to supporting Emma on her wedding day. I assisted her with changing outfits and took care of her belongings as requested. Regrettably, shortly after the wedding, I was unfairly implicated in the disappearance of some jewelry. Subsequent discussions with Emma revealed that there were private conversations insinuating my involvement, which left me feeling unfairly targeted.
Ooh.
It was only through the disclosure from third party that the truth about the jewelry's whereabouts emerged. I confronted Emma about these revelations, hoping for resolution and understanding. However, her response was dismissive, and she refused to acknowledge the hurtful nature of her actions. Instead, she chose to maintain hurtful social media posts, causing further distress. In light of these events, I have made the decision to distance myself from Emma and her immediate family. My conscience is clear, and I refuse to tolerate such unjust treatment. Furthermore,
It ain't over.
I want to assure you all that I am taking the necessary steps to clear my name.
He will die if it means reading this letter to the people.
Clear my name. I am in contact with legal counsel to draft a letter and seek exoneration from these false accusations. I share this message not out of spite or animosity, but to set the record straight and reclaim my integrity. P.S. The missing jewelry was found by her mother in the car. For all those interested in the details, I've compiled all relevant screenshots and supporting information in a Google Drive.
Receipts.
Feel free to click the link to access it.
Not a Google
Like and
Drive.
subscribe.
At the end, thank you to everyone who supported and gave advice and confollowed me. Looking forward to going on a vacation tomorrow while Emma spends the next few days dealing with this.
Love Bubble says, Sam, you're going to get the mic sick. Good Lord.
Yeah. I am okay. I'm not dying.
Pray for Sam.
Relevant comments. OP on the birth order with Emma and how her grandmother planned to distribute her possessions. OP, that's the funny part. She's actually 4 years younger than I am. I have never been a fan of the fighting for land and jewelry. I've always told my grandma I wanted one of her saris and a pair of earrings if she was okay with it. Even if I didn't get the earrings, the sari would be enough. Just something to remember her by.
I called that though.
Called what, though?
No. It's the opposite.
Oh,
Because
she doesn't care?
Because she's like, I'm probably going to get nothing in the inheritance because I asked for a sari, which is like a dress, and earrings maybe.
So, new updates.
Big bull.
As of this morning, Emma has pulled her Facebook posts.
Finally. Finally.
Grandma is saying that I was unfair to go public. Went just as public before.
Yes.
And she is disappointed in me. I explained to Grandma that after our 3-way conversation, it was clear I was being accused. It was not fair to be unjustly accused and not notify the public that the jewelry was found because Emma wanted to save face. Emma's mom and sister have tried to reach out to me via friend requests. I want nothing to do with them until Emma issues an earnest public and private apology. Since my last update regarding the Facebook post, multiple family members and family friends have reached out to me about what a crappy person Emma is. Some expressed disappointment in her actions to protect her facade and her treatment of me when I have been supportive and sincere to her on her big day. I thought that was rather amusing. Edit, since some assumed I'm putting up with my grandma's pope. He was cut off after that conversation. We do have some relevant comments to close this out. So SLJ7 says, good. I remember your original update about this. She deserves for people to think badly of her. Sometimes that's the only thing that will change a person. She could have ended this long ago by just posting online to say the jewelry was found. She didn't. So here we are. And OP says, I never wanted to go that route. I wanted to be civil about things. However, she wanted to let people run with the idea that I stole the jewelry. No, man.
Boom.
And then Wolfwater says, what does her husband have to say about all of this and the type of person that he now knows he married?
Interesting question.
OP responds, not sure, honestly. He does not have social media. He's a detective.
Crack the case of your wife being an a-hole.
Now I want to know what the other jobs are if everyone's just crapping on the project manager.
Yeah, bro. Project managers get paid way more than detectives.
Oh, yeah.
If we're going off of the superficial, like, monetary hierarchy.
Project managers get paid
bank, dude. Six figures.
6 figures.
Show.
I mean, sometimes mid 6 figures if you're like up there. Not sure, honestly. He does not, as a detective. I would love to know his stance, though. I wonder if she hid all of it from him. He seems quite polite and nice until he's toying with the law.
Oh, God.
Catching those criminals. Anyway, it baffles me that she managed to lock him down. And that is where this story ends.
Wow.
Wowzy.
Wow.
Wowzer.
This is kind of like when somebody finds out about somebody cheating and they're like, you should take down the posts. You know, let's have this conversation. Help clear my name. Take down the posts at a minimum. She's like, she didn't do it. She's like, all right, fine. I tried to go to you to resolve it that way. Now I have to go and publicly resolve it.
And it feels like OP literally gave them every opportunity.
Totally.
So OP, not the a-hole. I think, honestly, in this case, I probably would have done everything that OP did.
That's right. You gotta fight for your honor.
But we got another story coming your way.
Yeah, we do.
I want to skip my wife's cousin's wedding for my own family's gathering.
You gotta pick one. Who's more important?
It's the Montagues and the Capulets. February 17th, 2025. My wife and I are on vacation in my native country. I lived here until I was 18 when I moved to Canada. My wife was a born Canadian, but her parents moved from the same country I did. We have a 1-year-old daughter. My parents still live in my native country. By the way, this comes from user SQ1 Nostalgia. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, my parents and her relatives live in different parts of the country. So we landed at her relatives, and I spent the day there, said my goodbyes to my wife and daughter, and flew to my parents. The plan was that I would spend 2 weeks at my parents', then fly to my wife's for 3 days, attend her cousin's wedding with her, and then we would all fly back to my parents for a few days. My parents get to see my daughter, and then we would fly back to Canada. A couple of days ago, my relatives had decided to arrange a hangout for the entire family at the beach. Huts booked and all. Some other relatives of mine that live in other countries are also here at the time, so it's supposed to be a good old family gathering. But it's scheduled for the day of my wife's cousin's wedding. A couple of my uncles called me to ask me to change my plans so I could attend, and my parents want me to be there too. I thought of changing my flight to later so I'd be going after the wedding for just a day and then coming back with my wife and daughter. I told my wife about this, and I was pretty sure she'd be on board because even though she's very close to her cousin, I don't know her at all. However, she got really upset. saying that we had a plan and that she wanted me to be there at the wedding with her, that she wanted good photos of our family. I tried to explain that it would mean a lot to my family if I could make it to the gathering, that they didn't make these plans often, and the wedding is all her relatives, a lot of whom don't even know me. She got really upset, wouldn't hear of it, and said I need to be there. We ended the call there. Would I be the a-hole if I extended my stay and missed her cousin's wedding, whom I don't know, because my relatives have planned a grand gathering and would like me there? And there are some comments.
Yeah, you would be the a-hole. You made plans. Also, he's like, I don't know anyone. This is a chance for you to know her family. What are you talking about? Yes, you would be the a-hole. You can't just be like, well, these plans are more fun, so I'm going to do this. And she's like, dude, you said yes. You RSVP'd to this wedding. You can't back out because you have better plans.
We have a baby, 1-year-old, by the way.
And you're going to make me take the baby to the wedding by myself? Yeah, you would be the a-hole.
Unbelievable. We have some comments that I'm sure are about to rip this person in half. Sorry, you would be the a-hole. You asked her input and she gave it. Yes, it would mean a lot to your relatives if you stayed, but apparently it would mean a lot to your wife if you came to the wedding. It may sound unfair, but ultimately it's more in your interest to make her happy than to make some relatives happy. You did have a plan. Did you not inform your relatives ahead of time that you would be there and win?
Yeah, did they not ask you if they wanted you to be there so bad?
Why don't they push it back a day? Sounds like this all could have just been planned better. OP downvoted. My relatives, other than my parents, of course, didn't know I was going to be gone for a few days to be with my wife. And they've now booked everything, and some of my extended relatives are also here on those days who I never get to see. In a reply, you're the a-hole. Do you not parent your daughter at all? She is 1, and you want to send your wife alone to a wedding with a toddler? That's just crazy. Downvoted, OP, response, of course I parent her too. My wife's parents have also flown to attend the wedding, and they're there with her too. She's not alone. You're the a-hole. Your wife has already been solo parenting for 2 weeks. Now you want her to go to a wedding, toddler in tow, without your assistance so that you can further extend your vacation.
That's the thing. OP's already staying with his parents. He's spent time with his parents already.
This is wild. When does your wife get a vacation without your child? OP says, there was no way around it. We had to be at different places. And of course, my 1-year-old daughter had to be with her mother. I mean, honestly, I agree with that. But also, you still need to empathize and realize, oh, I've been on vacation this whole time.
But why did she have to? I mean, she's not anymore, most likely.
Wait a minute. I don't know why either.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You're the a-hole. Why is your family more important than hers? It's not about more important. It's just that I don't know a lot of her family, which is why the wedding is a great opportunity to meet them, dummy. And a lot of them don't know me since we live in Canada. I'm not asking her to abandon the wedding. I'm just trying to abandon the wedding. I'm just trying to say that I wouldn't be missed at the wedding as much as I would be at the family gathering. Bro, you'd be missed by your wife.
She's already told you.
All right, here we go. Mini update. After my conversation with my wife, I realized I had to go because she was adamant about it. Oh, is that why? Not because the entire internet started yelling at you? I came on here to know if I had a leg to stand on because it really would mean a lot to my folks if I could stay. So I wanted to know if there was a non-a-hole way for me to do that and maybe persuade my wife, but apparently not. Oh my God, brother. Just own it. What are you talking about? I plan on going. I let her know, and I apologized for the stress. A couple more replies here. Please don't sulk at the wedding and make her feel guilty about keeping you to your word. This is supposed to be an enjoyable event where she can introduce you and your child to her family. OP says, no, of course not. I'm looking forward to going and seeing her and my daughter again. I was being unreasonable. I'd never want to embarrass her. She told me just now that she's looking forward to having our family pictures taken, and there's a couple's dinner we're supposed to have with her cousin and the groom. So this honestly should never have been negotiable on my end. Commenter, this sounds horrible, and I know you've done some self-reflection, but you might need a bit more. You're basically saying that your parents' opinions matter more than your wife's. Like you were fine with your wife being unhappy and were going to persuade or wear her down in agreeing with you so you didn't have to be uncomfortable with telling your parents no. That seems extra, guys. He just has FOMO and he's kind of being dumb. There are also some times where it's I know it's the extended family gatherings and they really are rare. It's sometimes, it's will there maybe be another opportunity for me to meet your family? But it's you've already committed to the wedding. You're going about it the wrong way. You should just go. After being called out in a very well structured comment, OP replies, when I called her, I really thought she wouldn't have a problem with it. When she did, I struggled with why. because I saw my role in the wedding to be minimal, seeing as I don't know anyone. You dummy! That's why you go. You meet them. You're there to meet them. You absolute fool.
Yeah, you should want to go meet her family.
What are you doing? Like, yeah, that's why she's probably so upset. Why does my husband not give a crap about meeting my family or introducing our child to them together? That's insane. Unanimously voted the a-hole.
Good.
February 23rd, 2025. I had received a justifiably harsh response to my last post, and I can't thank everyone enough for that. I realized I was being a selfish a-hole, and I went to attend the wedding. Oh, really? Because that's not what you described in your last update, buddy.
Yeah, it seems like everyone bullied you and you're like, fine, I was being an a-hole, so I went to the wedding.
You're like, actually, I was just doing a social experiment to see if there was any way I could. It's like, no, you were not doing that. So I had him at the wedding. It felt really good to see my wife and daughter after 2 weeks, and I was prepared to apologize to my wife's parents, too, for my reluctance. But fortunately, she hadn't told them I was considering not coming during the few hours when I was undecided. Oh my God. Imagine he just did walk up to the parents and was like, sorry, I almost flaked. And they're like,
You weren't gonna come? He's like, yeah, I was thinking about hanging out with my parents.
and the wife's just like, I had to meet and greet a lot of people. My wife was the first amongst her cousins to get married, so I guess I'm the first outsider to become a part of the family. So I spent a lot of time talking to her relatives and got to know a few of them, too. She was very close to her cousin, so she was basically what our equivalent of maid of honor is. She had a lot of stuff to deal with, and I was making myself of use by keeping our daughter preoccupied. They had planned on a lot of things, like family pictures, couples dinner with the bride and groom, and I was honestly in awe of the planning that went into it. And by the way, you can be in awe of the full episodes with stories like this on iHeartRadio, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. All you got to do is search OK Storytime, and you can listen to all 1,200 hours of them.
Oh man, let's crack this story.
Yeah, because we all know what's going on here. My goodness, buddy. I've been feeling pretty ashamed of how much trouble I would have caused her had I not gone. She asked me a few times if I enjoyed myself, which would make me feel even worse about it. My parents were disappointed about me not attending the family gathering, and it sounds like it was fun, but I've realized nothing is worth not being there for my wife and daughter. Thank you all for the a-hole verdict. I needed it. OP's only update comment. Have you addressed yet with your family how hurtful it is that they picked one of the few days you weren't available and expected you to change plans last minute? Because that really needs to be done. It's crappy AF that they had the audacity to ask you to cancel on your wife like that. And I think it was already addressed that most of them had no idea that he was even in town for anything. OP responds, it wasn't my parents who arranged it. It was a couple of my uncles. And I think they only knew when I was in the country until, and they didn't know about my plans to go to the wedding, or at least which dates I would be gone for. And yes, changing plans should never have been a discussion. I think my parents were just asking me to cancel because they wanted me to meet some relatives who I haven't seen in ages or maybe ever.
And that's when you say like, yeah, but I already had these prior plans. Sorry. Yeah, I got to be there with my wife and my kid.
Sorry, can't do it. FaceTime me. Maybe I didn't impress upon them enough how important this was for my wife. And that is the end of the story. And you know, sometimes the internet yelling at you can, I guess, cause you to snap back to reality. Wake up to reality.
Learned a lot in this story, man.
I revealed my sister's secret to my cousin, and they both cut me off.
That's your dirty little secret.
So this is going to be a long one. Apologies for that. Everything happened over the span of 5 months. I, 27 male, and my non-blood related sister, Lily, 22 female, moved to Australia together at the beginning of 2023. Lily had been dating my cousin. They are not related. For 6 months before our trip. By the way, this comes from user obviousad3777, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, making the trip was a lot of money, which neither of us paid for because my stepmom, her godmother, and the reason that we met 18 plus years ago, paid for everything for both of us. She is by no means rich, she just works her butt off Sunday to Sunday and makes money accordingly. A little backstory, I decided to move to the other side of the world because 3 years ago, my dad was diagnosed with I quit my job, stopped meeting with friends, and did everything I could to take care of all of his medical needs. Doctor appointments, medical tests, insurance claims, driving him, etc. To the point that my life was put on hold. If I wasn't taking care of him, I was taking care of my younger siblings. 5 male and 10 female, which was a lot. My dad was doing much better and I needed a way to restart my life, so that's why I decided to come to Australia. Lily had a plan way before I did, and I'm the one who decided to join her 8 months before her departure. Before coming here, Lily and I were really close, especially in the last couple of years. We went out together, told each other everything, and she was the first person in my family that I came out to. The trust levels were truly through the roof. But everything changed after we got to Australia.
Down under.
She was in this mood where she hated it here, so she didn't want to do anything, including getting a job. The deal with our stepmom was that she would pay for us to come here, but that was it. She would not be supporting us while here since it was way too expensive, so food and rent were on us, which is more than fair. We booked an Airbnb for a week a couple of months in advance. I paid with my credit card, and she said that she would send me the money later that day. Spoiler alert, she didn't. During our first week here, I wanted to save as much cash as possible as finding a job could have taken a while, so I was paying for everything with my credit card. Lily did not have one. We agreed to split everything 50-50, so the idea was that once she found a job, she would give me her part of the bill to pay off my card.
We get spoiler alert.
That also didn't happen.
A lot of spoiler alerts.
There's nothing that'll get between two people faster than money, honestly. Got to be really, really clear
That's usually
moving through that.
That's one of the biggest factors for divorce.
Consider it. Consider that.
Consider it marked.
Lily found a weekend job on our second day here.
It was all in one day.
Excuse me? Why were you saying she wasn't going to get a job? It was one day.
Yeah.
OP, relax.
We just got here. I'm a little jet lagged.
Jeez. Oh, she didn't get a job her first day there? Why are we talking about it? Okay, moving on. Lily found a weekend job on our second day here. However, she kept complaining about it. Mind you, she doesn't speak English on a conversational level, so her options were rather limited. She worked there for 2 weekends before she just stopped going, first because she was feeling sick, and then because she was getting her period, and then she was sick again. However, this only seemed to happen during the weekend when it was time to go to work, not the night before at 4 a.m. when she was talking over the phone with her boyfriend. She got paid on a daily basis for the couple of days she worked there, but I never saw a single cent of that money, the money that she already owed me at that point.
Spoiler alert.
Another major thing happened. After our Airbnb rental was over, we couldn't find a place to live. The Airbnb was already booked for the next day, so we had no choice but to take our bags and leave. We were literally homeless. Hotels and hostels were insanely expensive. Weekly rent was around $350, while the cheapest, trashiest hotel was $190 per night. A random stranger from a Facebook group and his wife offered us their couch. If they were going to be that point, we didn't care. We had never met these people before, and they had no obligation whatsoever to help us. But they still did. They offered us their living room for a week while I found a room for us, but it wasn't going to be available until the following week. During this time, Lily was glued to her phone and headphones. She would go to sleep with her headphones on, talking to her boyfriend. She went to class while talking on the phone. She came home and went to sleep while talking on the phone. Get it. One day she started crying, but for once, not while on the phone. Everyone in the house assumed that she was sad because of her boyfriend, and for some reason, this really pissed her off. She got so mad that she just stood up and left mid-conversation. After 20 minutes, she came back, sat down, and said to the house owners, "I thank you for what you are doing for us, but do not talk about my partner because you don't know him and it's none of your business," with the rudest attitude in the world.
So she's ungrateful.
It really sounds like someone was completely unprepared to move to Australia. And I'm not going to lie, it sounds like both of you were not ready at all. Like,
You see that coming? You know what that is? Reality.
yeah, dude.
Uh-oh.
You need to have more than an Airbnb lined up. You need to have something lined up beyond just, we'll figure it out.
You can't do that in another country that you are not remotely even close to knowing. Sorry. That's just how reality works.
Yeah.
I feel like you guys are like, we have a dream.
Right. Anyways, mind you, if they had wanted to kick us out right there, they could have, and they almost did. I had to smooth things out. After that, we moved to our new place. We were sharing a room.
Have fun with that.
Yeah, we were supposed to split the rent in half. Something about me is that I hate reminding people to pay me or asking for money. I believe people are mature enough to know what they owe and pay for themselves, especially when it comes to rent. The plan was that she would transfer me her half of the rent every week, and I would then send the money to the owner. However, because I wasn't constantly reminding her, she would often forget until 3 weeks later, when I had no choice but to ask. But as you can imagine, because it was now 3 weeks worth of rent, Lily's response was, "Oh, sorry, I don't have that much money. I'll give you half this week and the other half later on." This became a pattern with her.
OP, that's kind of on you.
Yeah, dude, 100%. I have no empathy for you being like, I don't want to tell her she needs to pay me. Bro.
Rent is a very important thing. Unless if you know you can cover it and you know you're going to get your money back and it doesn't happen consistently, that's fine. But this is going to be happening, I don't know, consistently, and already has.
Yeah.
Kind of your fault.
Is it right that she is like, oops, I forgot? Of course not. But
No,
like,
we're not.
is,
Yeah.
the realistic solution to that to just not ask her or remind her or be on top of her about rent?
Ooh, touchy subject. I don't want to have confrontation and like, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's not fine. None of this is fine.
Yeah, I would be immediately looking for a new roommate situation because you and Lily, I know you guys have this history, but it's like this is not going to work. She can't pay rent. It's not going to work.
I think it's time for a
The money's getting
conversation.
between you.
Be like, you know what? I think we pack our bags and we just go back home.
Yeah, could be.
That conversation might need to come up because this is not going.
It's not going to work long term. So when I came home, she would be like, "Aren't you hungry? Let's go for some KFC." And then as we were in line, she would suddenly stay on her phone in the back, pretending to be busy when it was our turn to order and pay. So I would order and pay, and then she would proceed to ask, "What did you get us?" This happened several times, and not once did she pay for me or send me any money. When we did this with friends, ordering a big shared combo, and it was time to send the person who paid the money, it was expected for me to cover her part. People thought about us as one individual, though I think this is what I told myself to deal with the situation, as I was too embarrassed to let others deal with her. Now, some random stuff that happened in no particular order, but little by little added to my patience collapsing. I would leave the house at 7 a.m. to go to class, and on days that I didn't have work, I would come back at 2 p.m. She would still be sleeping. Her classes started at 1 p.m. She would still usually leave the house around 3 p.m. and come back at 5 p.m., even though her classes finished at 6 p.m. So yeah. Every Friday, I would text her 3 times, 8 a.m. when I left the house, 1 p.m. when I was on my way back to work, and at 6 p.m. when I was on my break. I'd say, "Hey, please don't forget to send me the money for rent." She would often do it by the next day, even though we were supposed to pay it first thing in the morning on Fridays. It was impossible to have a conversation with her, as she was always on the phone with her boyfriend. This was confirmed by our housemate, as even watching a movie together was not possible. She made a list of quote-unquote room rules in a very passive-aggressive way. One day, she got a whiteboard marker and wrote a bunch of rules on the closet's mirror. I got back from work to at least 5 rules written all over my mirror without prior discussion. These were all things that made sense, and since I was used to living alone, I was not aware that they were bothering her. They were simple things like don't leave the shoes around, put them inside the closet after you take them off, don't leave random items on the nightstand, use the drawers to put said items in, blah, 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 blah. And if I gotta be honest, if she said that to me, I'd cross out every single one and write over it, "Pay me my money." That's what I would write.
But I would also follow those rules.
Sure. But like, you're not even paying rent. You don't have a leg to stand on in terms of telling me what I need to be doing.
Yeah,
you need to pay me the money you owe me.
Yeah, if she was paying rent, that would make sense, but she's not paying any of her portions. So in this case, she's not really a roommate.
She's just a rude person writing you passive-aggressive notes in a mirror. She did get a job, well-paying, and a 10-minute walk from our house with many hours available. Perfect. Well, on her first day, she lied and said she had to leave early due to a school assignment. And at that point, she had already dropped out of her English class because, and I quote, she felt annoyed because a customer looked at her weirdly. She did nails, so it was a nail salon. She then proceeded to ignore the text messages from the owner asking if she could work an extra day for 3 days straight. After that, she showed up late and then was surprised they fired her. So she also had a past of being disrespectful. One time, she full-on had spicy sleep with her boyfriend under the blankets while the 3 of us were watching a movie in my room.
That's foul. That's foul.
Another time, when we fell asleep in my bed, I only found out months later when she told me while she was wasted. We had a really good relationship with David, our housemate, and I didn't want to worry about walking in on them doing stuff in the living room or under a blanket while watching a movie. So I literally said to her, if you want to hook up with randos, go for it. If you want to cheat on your boyfriend, you go, girl, but just not with David, please. She would always make me feel crazy for even thinking that she would do something like that. And this is important to remember. Again, David is the housemate in the place that they're living right now. 3 weeks after coming to Australia, she met a guy. He was tall, single-ish, that's a whole different story, and seemed very interested in her. She was still together with her boyfriend at the time, saying, "I love you," over the phone, then hanging up, claiming she was going to take a nap, only to call the new guy, Sam, 42 male, to pick her up. I will admit I also enabled her to start seeing this man, saying stuff like, enjoy your life, enjoy your youth. We were also super broke at the time, and the guy had money to spare, and he didn't have any hobbies. So he would take her out to fancy restaurants. She started staying over at Sam's more and more each week, to the point that David and I would only see her once or twice a week when she dropped by to wash her clothes and or pick up new ones.
I don't like that. You condone her on cheating. You literally said, go cheat. I would have been like, hey, before you do that, what about your boyfriend?
Yeah, it's like when you go, enjoy your youth. That's not like be adulterous. That's like, hey, so if you're feeling like you want to go explore with this other guy, break up with your boyfriend, let him know that you have feelings you want to explore and that you guys just need to move on.
That's fine.
That's the healthy thing to do.
If you broke up with your boyfriend, great. But guess what? Again, her personality is talking to her boyfriend all the time.
Even David randomly said to me, "Man, we live so comfortably and hassle-free when it's just the two of us, huh?" So yeah, it wasn't just me. At this point, she was working doing nails at Sam's house, getting clients through Facebook groups, but she still hadn't paid me a single cent to help with my credit card debt. A couple months into being with Sam, she decides to break up with her boyfriend, not because of Sam, but because they had been doing long distance for 4 months or so and it wasn't working.
I wonder why.
I'm gonna need you to read that one more time, Chief, and get back to me.
Yeah.
One random day after I came back from work, David was feeling really down. He asked me to go out for a drink. I had the next day off, so I agreed, as I would have worried if he left alone in the state he was in. It was a good night. We drank, we danced, and chatted with strangers. Overall, it was a good time. We were having our last little drinky poo and talking about random stuff when he confessed that he now felt grossed out that he and Lily had kissed twice before,
Shocked.
as she was like family to him now.
Ooh. Don't say that.
I was like, "Excuse me, what do you mean?" He then confessed that they had made out twice a couple months ago, but Lily told him not to say anything to me. At that point, I wasn't even mad about the kiss. Had they told me when it happened, I would have been like, I mean, whatever, buy me a drink, and moved on. However, it was the gaslighting from Lily that made me feel crazy. The fact that it was the only thing I had ever asked of her, and she couldn't even do that for me. Plus, I had already been dealing with everything I listed before for 5 months. I knew I wanted out of the situation and out of Lily's life, but I didn't have the heart to just leave her because if she ever needed anything, I would have wanted to help her. So in my head, and this is where I may be the a-hole, as I could have just been trying to justify my actions, I reached the conclusion that I couldn't leave her. However, I could do something so she would leave me on her own accord.
What are you doing?
Guys, this is a perfect example of how not to interact with somebody that you need to have a hard talk with.
You're doing all the things that you should be doing. You're like, I could communicate with her, but I'm not going to. I could leave her. I'm not going to.
Yeah, instead I'm going to make a weird scheme to get her to leave me. I took my phone and called my cousin. They were already broken up, my cousin and Lily, but they still talked on the phone every single day. And as far as I knew, they still promised to get back together in the future. And I told him everything. It's like a black hole just formed in the center of my chest.
What runs in this family?
What is going on? Remember that time you called me and asked me if Lily was okay, but she was feeling sick and her phone was off? I said I was working and wasn't home. Well, that was a lie. She went to the beach with Sam, turned her phone off, and I was home watching a movie with David. Remember on her birthday, she sent you a picture, but neither David nor I were in it despite living with her? Well, that's because that was Sam's house.
This is your way of getting back at Lily? Bro, you are just as toxic as everybody else.
Everyone in this story.
Because now you're bringing down, you should have done this a long time ago. But you know what? When in Australia, I guess. I don't know. This is insane to me.
Sam's even in the picture that she sent you wearing matching coats that he got her for her birthday. He was broken.
Congratulations. You made him feel terrible when you should have told him a long time ago.
I texted him in the morning to see how he was doing, but to my surprise, he had deleted me from Facebook and unfollowed me on Instagram. Meanwhile, Lily had blocked me from everything.
Congratulations! You did the stupidest thing possible.
Well, that was your goal, wasn't it?
You know, she would have done that, I don't know, a long time ago. Be like, oh, I would feel bad.
She probably would have blocked you if you were just like, I need you to give me the money you owe me or be gone by next week.
I mean, I would have done give me the money or I'm going to tell my cousin, your boyfriend, about Sam.
She came to the house 2 days later saying she was moving out and was there to collect her things, and that was the last day we spoke. The end of June 2023, I didn't hear from her until September of this year when my dad passed away. It was a simple short message. I am back in my country as I came to spend my dad's last days with him and help my family. As far as I know, she is still in Australia. I don't know how or where. Oh, and she and my cousin still talk every day. I know this from my aunt. By the way, you can listen to full episodes with stories like this every day. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio, wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search OK Storytime, and you'll find every single story we've ever told.
51 days and counting.
We have another little bit of story left here. Honestly, I think we're all on the same page here, right? If OP would have just sat Lily down and said, I'm going to tell you some stuff. This isn't really a discussion. I'm telling you these things. This is not a debate. This is the reality of the situation.
Hey,
You can't pay me rent. If you can't do this, if you can't give me the money that you owe me, we're going to have to not be roommates. We're
Hey,
going to have to figure something else out.
I just met you through the story, and y'all are crazy. So stop talking. That's crazy. Stop talking to each other. That's crazy. The fact that your cousin's still talking to Lily after you told him the truth is even
Yeah, poor cousin.
crazy.
I feel so bad for cousin. But yeah, you are, Lily is the catalyst for all of this negativity, but like
you enabled
you
it.
fueled it, my God.
You know what it was like, oh, there's a fire over there. Let me throw some gasoline over there.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's fine.
you threw napalm on it, dude.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's finish this story. I'm aware that it seemed like I could have handled things in a better way. Maybe I could have. No, that's definitely you could have. However, it was not really possible to tell her anything at the time, as she would get defensive and retaliate right away.
Oh, so you're scared of Lily. Why are you scared of Lily? What did she hold over your head? She held nothing over you.
My life in Australia took an upgrade after that. I found a better place to live, got along amazingly with my new roommate to the point that we still talk. Even 6 months after I came back to my country, I got a full-time job, so my money issues disappeared. I met new, amazing people. Overall, my time in Australia, despite the rocky start, was amazing, and I'm glad I did what I did. And that is the end of that.
That was a very
story.
frustrating story. My aunt and cousin accused my father and brother of theft. I'm calling them out.
What we be stealing, guys?
I, 22 female, have 2 aunts on my dad's side of the family, and they both have their own issues. The one I'm talking about is the oldest. Dad is the youngest out of all of them. According to him, they'd both bully him and get him in trouble with his parents, and I can see that it is continuing into adulthood. By the way, this comes from user The Writing Honeybee, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, my aunt Sarah, 66 female, is the main protagonist of the story, along with my cousin Erin, 44 female. All of this started after my grandfather passed away mid-2022. Before this, no one really had issues with each other, and we all seemed united to be with him and my grandmother, 82 female. This all started because of some silver coins no one in my immediate family remember my grandmother ever having. Okay, keep that in mind.
Okay.
My grandmother thought they were stolen or became misplaced, and from what I can gather, Aaron and I started saying it was probably my brother Jake, 19 male, or my father Tony, 62 male. Why would you jump to that conclusion? It was them. Sarah had also started agreeing with Aaron and only made the rumors worse. Before we, yeah, I don't like this. You're already spreading rumors. You didn't confront the people. You just started saying, hey, it was either my brother or my dad.
Yeah. Instead of gathering evidence, just accusing.
Always gather evidence before you do something.
In this case, I know it's all family. If you have someone in the family that like steals stuff, I mean, you probably still shouldn't accuse them. You can probably be like, all right, it might be this person.
Yeah.
But they don't have a history of that, do they?
We're going to find out. I hope not, but always gather the evidence first. I didn't realize how bad it was until I went to help my grandmother with the garage sale over the summer. At this garage sale, Sarah and Aaron did not hide their snide remarks and side comments about Jake and Tony being thieves and stealing from my grandmother. My grandfather's stuff was left both to Tony and my grandmother, who wanted help selling his things.
Dude, this was like Clue or like a Scooby-Doo
That's what I was gonna say.
kind of thing.
Like it's like you're just jumping.
I'm like, who would benefit the most from these coins?
And you know what's funny? I guarantee you, Jake and Tony are gonna be like, we didn't steal them. They stole them.
Ooh.
Is that my ICU?
That's his ICU.
Or my conspiracy theory? Or both? Conspiracy ICU.
There we go.
Tony put some of my grandfather's fishing poles and a crossbow to sell. Erin got mad because she thought maybe her kids would want some of the fishing poles. I personally don't remember the last time they've actually fished or went outside for that matter, but okay, get mad about it. I told Tony about this, and he said if she wants any of them, to give them to her. I came back the next day, and she had bought 2 of them before I could tell her to just take the 2. She had made comments about how it was the only way they'd get something off their great-grandfathers. I told her I can give her the money back because I was the one in charge of all the money, which I believe Erin and Sarah had issues with, but she declined and said it was going to our grandmother regardless. I thought that it was all over, then Sarah came prancing over and started her spiel about religion and other things before walking past me to check to make sure no one took any of her things and everything was accounted for. I wouldn't have thought anything about it if she didn't make a snide remark the night we set up about some people in the family having sticky fingers. It wasn't the only remark she's made about my brother or father, but when she started talking crap about me, I saw red. So they just like to spread rumors.
Yeah, I've seen this happen many a time in the small town that I come from. Just like bickering and spreading rumors, just to have something to talk about. It's kind of sad.
You're just bored.
Yeah.
I don't like people like that. My college degree is going to be in creative writing, and she made a comment after I told her she'd have to write down prices, and I said, I know. I didn't go to college to know how to do that. Just common sense. She wouldn't know common sense if it smacked her in the face 20 times, but go off. Sarah had told me she took college classes, and I told this to my father, and he said, and dropped out of them, which isn't surprising considering her daughter did the same thing and left her with all the debt. She was also talking about how trans people shouldn't exist. No, that's bad. Shouldn't exist, which prompted me to tell her off and scream, I'm a lesbian in front of everyone that was in the garage. She shut up and still continued to make her comments about my brother and father and really didn't hide them at all.
Okay, she definitely came from my hometown. This lady. Goodness gracious.
Who is
What?
this?
But that doesn't make any sense. It just feels like she's just trying to get a rise out of OP at this point.
I think she likes the drama.
Yeah.
There were times she spoke about people being evil and something happening that broke my grandmother's heart, like she and Aaron didn't fabricate the entire story because of jealousy. Anytime some of my grandmothers would sell, Sarah would walk over and watch me count the change, write down the price, and hand the change back to the person. Why? Aaron had told me I needed to get an attitude like her, and I'm just like, I have one, but out of respect decide to not show it in front of a family. That is effing changing because I am done. I had gone back to college the week after, and I heard nothing about their shenanigans until I came home for Thanksgiving break, where I was told by Jake that her, Aaron's son, 15 male, was spreading rumors around the high school to brothers' friends about Jake and Tony being thieves. This is when I started getting mad again, because you can have issues with the adults in the family, but leave your dang kids out of it.
Runs of the family. Just goes right down the line.
My mom, Patty, 52 female, and I went to dinner and Tony and Jake stayed home. They didn't want to go because of all the crap happening and they didn't feel welcomed in the slightest. Everything seemed normal until today, December 23rd. My mom called my grandmother to ask when dinner was for Christmas Eve, and I walked in while they were still on the phone. My grandmother told her, and Patty said everyone would be there. This then prompted my grandmother to say, I don't want Jake in my house. I don't trust him. My mom asked why, and she explained, Sarah saw him enter my house during the summer while I wasn't there. She was insinuating that Jake stole the coins.
Dude, just go no contact with this woman. Like, what the heck?
I just want to say, where's the proof in all of this?
Oh, he entered over the summer one time. There's your proof. Isn't that enough?
Her word is better than your word. Grandma's, I mean, it just little snakes here.
Yeah.
Jake has a copy of her house keys, as does Patty and Tony. He went in there because she let him store deer meat in her freezer and he wanted to make deer jerky. He's done it many times before and she's never had an issue with it, which I do get. Going into someone's house without permission is a big no, but to basically use that as proof of them stealing the coins is a bit off. Like I said, I also question where their actual proof is, and if they have a video or other ways of proving their allegations to be factual, and not made up BS because of their own jealousy of a 19-year-old that's helped out his grandmother more than any of the grandkids, including me, combined since he was 6. My grandmother also told Tony something similar to that today, when he stopped out there and he didn't know the full context until Patty and me explained it to him. Tony, Patty, and Jake are not going out there tomorrow, but I am. I know my grandmother isn't this awful person that she's been recently. I know she's like this because of Aaron and Sarah getting in her head and telling her these lies, and I'm tired of it. I don't want to ruin the relationship I have with my grandmother because she's the only grandparent I have left. But it's hard to watch them manipulate her like this and continue to get away with it. I love her and wish they weren't doing this crap. I just know confronting Sarah and Aaron tomorrow might cause even more issues. But I'm so effing tired of it because my brother and father didn't do what they've been accused of. The only reason why they both aren't coming to my father about this is because they're afraid of him. Would I be the a-hole if I confronted them for saying this crap in front of my grandmother who's already upset because of their lies? I don't want to lose her, but I also can't sit here and watch them do all this. I will update y'all as soon as I can, but I could use any advice.
OP, I'll just be for real. I've been a part of, not really a part of, but I've seen a few family explosions happen, and you know what the best thing to do is? Stay out of it. I say stay out of it. I say just let it go. Say your piece and let it go.
It's hard when, for me, if this is your only grandparent left, you want to make things as good as possible with at least that grandparent. Screw the family member spreading the rumors, but I would be like, listen, where is their proof? They're just telling you these, and I also hate that they're taking advantage of the elderly here, and making them point fingers and saying negative things about family members that they are jealous of, it seems like. So if I were OP, I would confront them and be like, why are you doing this? Why are you accusing my family? And 2, who are you to do that?
Sure. Okay, that's a good point.
And we do have an update. No confrontation happened. I'm disappointed. Not because I didn't want to, it's because Sarah didn't bother showing up. I guess she thought my dad would be out there and she'd get yelled at. What she doesn't realize is that it'll come from me when I do see her again. Christmas Eve dinner was cordial and Jake dropped me off before he went out to DoorDash. Apparently my other aunt just scoffed at him when he told her Merry Christmas, which is disgusting. They asked where he went and I told them and then had to explain what DoorDash is. By the way, you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime.
Boom.
I'm just gonna keep going into it.
Go for it.
Erin didn't say anything to me, and we were all focused on her foster kids not doing anything stupid. I went outside with them and my cousin. As far as I know, nothing else was said. My grandmother talks to me like nothing happened, and like I didn't hear her say she didn't trust my brother. She asked if Patty was mad, and I was like, yes. And she said, I can't help it. It's the truth. Sarah has another thing coming to her when I see her. I will give more updates if anything does happen. Enjoy your Christmas and happy holidays to those who don't celebrate it. And that's the end of that story. So I feel like that update wasn't really anything special. I feel like we just didn't get to the confrontation or anything. I feel like, 1, OP needs to talk to grandma and clear the air. Like, OP's brother, Jake, was so close with grandma, or at least was able to go into grandma's house and just hang out for a little bit. This is very off-putting that, 1, the aunt didn't go because she was scared of OP's dad, and 2, they're all like, where is this bad blood coming from? Where is this petty argument coming from? It's very confusing. Someone needs to get called out immediately before more rumors spread and more happens, or people start believing the lies.
I stepped in to make sure my son and his cousins were safe. Now my in-laws think I overstepped.
Ooh. Sorry, I was just thinking of the children.
So a bit of background to start. I work in childcare. This is important for later. And have been since my son, 3 male, let's call him Marshall, fake name, was 9 months old. I, 31 female, Jenny, fake name, had been working full-time throughout my 5-year relationship, 4-year marriage, with my husband minus my 3-month maternity leave. I was working in fast food before my current job. By the way, this comes from Werewolf number 7672 on the OK Storytime subreddit. So anyways, because my husband, 29 male, Robert, and I got married in 2020 during COVID and had our honeymoon baby, Marshall, neither of us have been able to meet much of our family's extended family. Also, my parents are divorced, but I and our son got to see my mom's side when my grandpa unexpectedly passed away last year. Last year, my husband's family, spearheaded by my mother-in-law Faith, who I absolutely love, and his grandmother Gran, decided that it was time to have all the siblings, their families, come to Grand's and Pawpaws for Thanksgiving the upcoming year, 2024, for the first time in 19 years. Wow. There are 9 siblings, and my father-in-law, Forrest, is the oldest. Because there are so many siblings, I will just be referring to the one that is involved in this by his birth order number. I don't want to come up with that many names, and most of them aren't important for this anyways. So because my husband Robert and I both work full-time jobs, we had to save up PTO all year in order to be able to make this trip happen. We wanted to be able to enjoy ourselves a bit. I made my plans with my dad, Boyd, for the first part of our trip since we were going to the same state anyways. We left early the Saturday before Thanksgiving, driving down from Washington State to Utah, stopping in Idaho for the night to break our trip before starting early the next morning. We arrived at my dad's and stepmom's Josie on Sunday night and stayed for 2 nights and most of the 3rd day. We, as aforementioned, had several activities planned and had a really great time. So far, everything's nothing to worry about.
Everything's lining up.
Now, for what you have been waiting for. It was previously arranged that on Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving, the guys would go shooting while the girls would socialize and make pies. Being the newest to marry into the family and not being a social butterfly, I was supposed to be able to meet the girls in a less intimidating setting and cook, which I love. For further context, my husband is the oldest of the cousins and so far the only married one, which puts us, myself and my husband, in a bit of an awkward position with the other adults. We arrived at the Airbnb we were sharing with my in-laws and brother-in-law Henry, 22 male, fake name. Tuesday night, have traveled about 3 hours to get there from where my dad lives. Needless to say, we were pretty tired from our trip already by this point. Wednesday morning, my husband took her son with him to Grands and Pawpaws, while mother-in-law and I got ready. Father-in-law and brother-in-law left extra early to go meet up with all the guys for shooting, and myself and my mother-in-law followed later as we had to make a stop on the way. When myself and my mother-in-law arrived at Grands and Pawpaws, the guys were already gone, which was expected, and I went to check on my son. No one was watching him or the other littles, and he is 3. That is an age you gotta keep an eye out.
That's like a kind of
That's an age you
almost
gotta
you commit a
watch.
crime by doing that. That's neglect.
Number 8, M and his wife Sarah, fake name, 5 children were all downstairs with my son and the older 3, early teen to tween age girls. Were too busy watching a movie in the other room and not keeping tabs on their younger brother Thomas, 6 male, their sister Lily, 2 female, or my son Marshall, 3 males.
We got a lot of
You should keep an eye
moving
on
parts
those.
in this story.
As stated in the beginning of this post, I work in childcare, and so I felt that I had to stay downstairs and watch them because no one else was. Even though Sarah was sitting upstairs, not participating in making pies, etc., because she's pregnant with number 6 and too sick to do anything. After a couple hours of watching the kids, more family members arrived and their teen girls, and I had them take over for a while so I could get into the kitchen with mother-in-law, gran, and the rest of the girls, where I had hoped to stay for the rest of the day, with the exception of when my son needed a change/potty. We were potty training. While I was upstairs with the girls, Sarah was complaining and saying, "She has done enough." Isn't she like not done anything? Isn't like the whole point? She was like, "I don't feel well, so I'm not going to do anything."
She's pregnant. Don't you know she's done enough?
I was extremely upset she hadn't lifted a finger or gone downstairs to watch her kids, any of the kids, even once. She's a stay-at-home mom who doesn't cook or clean at all. She homeschools her kids. Her youngest daughter was in footed pajamas and clearly hadn't had a diaper change all day. Why does this woman have kids if she's not even taking care of the ones that are out? Also, there are a lot of wood stairs leading downstairs, and I was seriously afraid that Lily was going to get seriously hurt falling down them, since not only were they slippery, but her footed PJs were too big as well. Very dangerous.
What is this house of horrors?
Literally. I bit my tongue and said nothing because I didn't want to make waves with someone I had literally just met, but I regret it. If I had spoken out then, maybe the later drama wouldn't have happened.
One of those kids is falling down the stairs.
Yeah, one of those kids is getting hurt.
Oh, God.
After lunch, I went downstairs to just check on Marshall and the situation downstairs, and I wasn't down there for more than 5 minutes when the teen girls who had been watching the kids all scattered, leaving, you guessed it, me to watch the kids again for several hours. You should have known you can't leave or you can't go downstairs. It's like holding up the sky. If you take over Atlas, you know. This was difficult because number 8's and Sarah's children are free range. Thomas kept trying to escape and run out onto the street, and I was terrified every time Lily got near the stairs.
What do you mean free range? Is that a thing?
Yeah, it's just they run wild. They run amok.
They're not chickens.
Nope, they aren't. Thomas and Marshall were somewhat playing together, but Thomas kept taking toys from him and getting upset when I would tell him that he needs to take turns. Lily unfortunately copied her brother and started doing the same thing with Thomas and Marshall. Eventually, my mother-in-law came looking for me, wondering what was going on and why I barely spent any time upstairs. I gave her the condensed version of the story, being that I had been stuck watching the kids because no one else was. She was furious because she knows how shy I am and where I work, so she instantly understood that I could not just let the kids run wild, despite my desire to get to know the girls and make pies, etc. Who's going to be making the pies? I just want OP to make the pies.
But can't somebody think of the pies?
We're thinking so much of the children that we're forgetting about the pies.
The delicious pie.
My mother-in-law, Faith, my son, Marshall, and myself ended up leaving early because before the guys came back from shooting, even though they were gone much longer than originally planned, to go back to the Airbnb because I was upset and overwhelmed, but my mother-in-law had to go back to making rolls. My mother-in-law went back with the intention to let them have it, meaning number 8 and Sarah, but my father-in-law, Forrest, caught wind of what was going on and talked her out of it until after Thanksgiving. She gave them the silent treatment the rest of the night. Once my husband came back to the Airbnb, he told me that I wasn't allowed to leave the kitchen tomorrow except for bathroom breaks, which sounds bad, but I think he means it in a well-meaning way. He's like, you gotta stay in that kitchen making me a pie.
I think he's getting a little cheeky.
Yeah.
I think maybe they have a little cheeky dynamic.
I think they got a little cheekiness going on there.
And that's perfectly fine.
He absolutely didn't want me watching the kids and wanted to try and make up for being gone so long and unable to switch out with me. Thursday, Thanksgiving, started pretty uneventfully. I was in the kitchen helping my mother-in-law, Faith, Gran, and the other girls, not Sarah, who was still sitting upstairs too sick to do anything.
I don't mean to dunk on the pregnant woman, but I bet you she ain't gonna be too sick to eat.
No, she's gonna eat it all.
I bet you she's gonna feel real good when dinner time comes around.
Number 8 was cooking on a smoker outside for several hours, so we didn't have a chance to rub each other the wrong way. Much later, after all the tables got set up with everything, cutlery, plates, napkins, decorations, etc., including glass goblets on Gran's insistence. The last of the dinner preparations were coming together, and a few of the adults were socializing at the table, including number 8 because all his cooking was done. Thomas wandered upstairs, and in fear of him breaking the glass goblets, otherwise mess up the table, I approached him and was gently trying to convince him to go back downstairs with the rest of the kids when number 8 snapped at me, yelling that he, Thomas, was fine and he was going to stay right there, despite him immediately starting to play with one of the glass goblets. Then Gran approached Thomas, and number 8 yelled at her too, his own elderly mother.
You don't yell at Graham.
You don't freaking yell at Gran, or you gotta get the fists. Because she was afraid of the same thing I was. Then I discreetly texted my husband to intervene and asked him to make sure none of the kids came upstairs until it was time to eat. Same thing happened again. Then a couple of the other siblings said the same thing. You would have thought that maybe this would have given him/his wife the hint, but alas no, and there was more shouting from number 8. After another half an hour or so of the back and forth, he finally decided that maybe Thomas should be downstairs after all. Dinner was an awkward affair, at least for me, because I could feel the animosity towards me from number 8 and Sarah. Because obviously everything was my fault since I couldn't just let their kids get hurt, etc. As soon as dinner was over, I wanted to leave. I was supposed to be on vacation and enjoying myself, but instead I had to watch some unruly kids and then get yelled at and later snubbed because I was trying to make sure everyone was safe. And we want to make sure that you safely join us live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST on
That's
YouTube,
right.
Facebook, TikTok, and Twitch.
Don't do it while you're driving or
No.
flying a plane or
No.
operating a train. Always
Just tap our
safely.
profile.
And you know what? We might even be live right now
Go
as
check.
you're watching this, so go check, see if we're live.
But wait, 1 second. We've got a little bit more to the story.
So
Do you have any final thoughts before we crack it open?
sometimes it's really hard to tell parents that their kids suck.
Oh, that's also true.
It's kind of really hard. What you just said is the nice way of saying that, which is it sounds like these kids are being actively ruined, and it sounds like they're also not in the safest environment.
I was so upset and overwhelmed by the whole situation that I did not leave the Airbnb on Friday and was overjoyed to leave for home on Saturday morning. Don't worry, we made it home safely on Sunday and are grateful our trip is over. So am I in the wrong for stepping in and making sure that my husband's young cousins and our son were safe at a family gathering over Thanksgiving? And that is the end of that story.
OP, I just want you to read that one more time, and you can answer that one yourself.
Am I the a-hole for making sure that kids were safe? Obviously not.
My intoxicated husband spewed racial insults at a wedding. She won't apologize.
Cancel her.
Get out now. So my brother Ben, 25 years old, and my sister-in-law Lisa, 24 years old, got married earlier this year. It was a beautiful ceremony held in a countryside venue, followed by a meal and then speeches. However, our cousin Tiffany, 26 years old, wasted because there was an open bar, could not stop but to show her true colors.
Oh no.
By the way, this comes from Recent Midnight 319 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So the parents of the bride were holding a beautiful speech welcoming our side to their Wahanau family. I'm probably completely messing that up, so flame me in the comments. And the connections of Aroha, love. Oh, flame me again. Will bring us closer. Tiffany interrupts saying, we're all white here. Speak English. hey, Tiffany, I'm about to speak prison on your face because that's where I'm sending you right now. I'm gonna,
Oh, wow.
So I was sitting directly behind Tiffany and I shoved her in the back and tried to tell her to shut it, being tipsy myself. So we got tipsy on tipsy crime going on right
Oh,
here.
boy.
Okay.
That's good.
Tiffany didn't say anything more during the speech, but her comment had already upset more or less everyone at the wedding, including Ben and Lisa, as it should. To make matters even worse, there was a multitude of people of color at the wedding, and Lisa's parents had a lot to do with the indigenous community in our country. Also, at the time, Tiffany was dating Hemi, 25, roast me again if I'm mispronouncing that, 25, who was an indigenous person of color. Lisa does not freaking get it. Lisa, you freaking racist idiot.
Yeah.
Come on.
I also kind of like the detail of like her showing her true colors, which is like no color. You know what I mean? 'Cause she's like white.
Boom.
I don't even know like if there's even a joke in there. I just think it's.
I agree. I was thinking the same
I
thing
think
and
it's
trying to make a
funny.
joke. I think you crushed it. I think you crushed it. As Ben's only sibling and family member to make a speech that day, as our parents aren't very into public speaking, during my speech of welcoming Lisa into the family, Tiffany interrupted my speech. What do you think? What do you think she's gonna say? She's gonna say something beautiful and inclusive.
Not at all. I think she's gonna say things that we cannot repeat on this show.
I think you're right. So I gave her a look of disappointment.
Yep.
And I quickly finished my speech just to get it over with, get to not give Lisa any more platform.
Right.
We got to deplatform Lisa over here. It doesn't end there. Okay, the bridesmaids were in the bathroom after the speech, speaking of the obvious disgust of Tiffany's outburst. Tiffany had overheard as she was in one of the toilet stalls and came out ready to start a fight with them.
That's like what would be set up in like a sitcom or something like that. Like,
literally. She's like, excuse me.
Like the bully in the 80s movie bursts out and starts like talking about your outfit or something like that.
Yeah.
Like that's what's happening right now, except it's so much worse.
You're going to start like clawing you with her nails or whatever. So it quickly escalated to other guests kicking Tiffany out. W move. Tiffany was then put in our Aunt Jean's car, who was about to take our Nana home. And of course, she still had no shame and rolled the window down, flipping everyone outside off.
Oh my God.
Well, her own brother told her that she does stupid things, she'll win stupid prizes. And she is most definitely a winner in that sense. The rest of the celebration went without a hitch, dancing and drinking the night away. We have an update. I have a feeling this is not the last of Tiffany.
Oh, absolutely not.
It's Tiffany, right?
I feel like this wasn't
Tiffany.
even the first of Tiffany. I feel like this was probably. I mean, I guess OP said like something about showing her true colors in this situation.
This is OP's cousin. Yeah, people probably know that she sucks, but maybe they don't spend enough time with her. I mean, like a cousin.
Yeah.
I could see it's like, oh, we only like see each other for like holidays or whatever.
Right.
And it's like,
right.
Okay, now we see what Tiffany really about.
Yeah.
And we got to cut that out.
Yeah. I also think, this is such a side note, but I also think it's kind of interesting and weird that she said, like, we're all white here, so speak English. Because the typical insult and the typical racist thing to say is, like, we're in America. Is already very wrong, you know? But also, it's like, there's so many like different like
You're
languages
so telling your
that
card.
like white people speak.
Yeah, it's like I'm like white and like I know you're like not white, so like you need to like speak white, like because I like white and I don't like things that aren't white.
Right?
Did I make that clear?
Right. I'm sorry.
You did. You did, frickin' Tiffany.
Yeah. That's just like it. It's just like you're adding stupidity to like, I mean, I guess that first insult is already stupid, but it's like you're just making it so much worse.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Come on, Tiffany. Well, we have an update to possibly more of Tiffany's shenanigans.
I'm scared.
So our dad, Greg, went to Tiffany's house a few days after the wedding and calmly and respectfully told Tiffany that we expected a sincere apology to Ben and Lisa, and that going forward, she would no longer be invited to family events at all without an apology, and that she needs to have some serious reflections on her views. Boom. W Daddy.
Yup.
Daddy Greg is a W.
Yup.
It's been over 10 months, and Tiffany still hasn't apologized, which we expected, as even growing up, she was always stubborn and unwilling to take accountability for her wrongdoings. So it seems like maybe they didn't know the full picture, but it's like, okay, now we're like, we're all adults now. We're not kids anymore. And now we see.
Right.
Update number 2. Let's dive right in. First, I'll give some context to the situation. So I live in a different part of the country where most of my family live, and I usually try to go and see them 2 to 3 times a year, and my parents do the same. This has meant that I get a lot of the information a lot later. The update is somewhat related to the original post, as it is what tipped the scales in Tiffany's father's eyes.
Interesting.
So Tiffany's father is entering the chat and maybe seeing Tiffany's true colors.
He's waking up.
Well, about 3 months ago, I went back home to go to a friend's wedding. Oh no, not another wedding.
No.
And my mom updated me on the way to the wedding. Uncle Kevin had met me with my dad and Gary, his brother. Uncle Kevin started by raising his voice, saying Gary should have spoken to him about Tiffany's behavior at the wedding rather than going straight to Tiffany, and started blaming Gary for his money issues and other little things that had been bothering him for some time. Confusing. It's like, hey, like, why did you why did you like try to correct my daughter?
Yeah.
Instead of like coming to me to correct her? It's like, well, I mean, she's a whole ass adult, sir. She's 26 years old. Like, why not directly to? She's not 5.
She doesn't need to like tell on her. Like,
yeah, kind of like it's like oh yeah, he wants to like tell her, you know, you can't do that. But like, well, that's the weirdest way to go
really
about
is.
that. Little suspicious.
He wants tattletales.
This more or less brought Gary to tears. And since he couldn't get a word in, he decided to leave, choosing not to make it into a big fight.
Whoa.
A lot of the things bothering Uncle Kevin had more to do with his life choices and less to do with the wedding drama around his daughter.
Drama.
Okay, pay attention, ladies and gentlemen. A couple years ago, Kevin decided that he wanted to convert his farmland into cropping only, as that was what his son was more interested in. I'm guessing something that will be more relevant later.
Right.
Because for now, it does not make sense.
Not at all.
My mom works in financing/accounting, and when he was starting to go about this, she gave him some advice, as cropping does not make a lot of money, and that he could hire someone to look after the livestock and dairy part of the farm and reduce the numbers to make more room for fields to crop. I'm guessing for the son to do that.
Yeah.
He continued with a full conversion, selling off the dairy and the livestock.
Dang.
Well, a few months after the wedding, my nana had a cardiac event.
Oof.
Does not sound like a celebration.
No.
And my dad didn't find out until 12 hours after she had been admitted into the hospital. Uncle Kevin is the primary contact for Nana and lives close to her. Dad didn't find out until his sister rang him to ask if he had been to see her at about 8 p.m. Essentially, Kevin doesn't want to talk to us, even if Nana's health is going downhill, as this was not the only time.
Oh boy.
What? So about a month and a half ago, Nana was not well also. She had activated her emergency alarm, and they contacted Uncle Kevin to go check on her, as they couldn't get a response from her in the house. She was in a really poor state and needed to be cleaned up before the ambulance arrived to pick her up. My dad didn't find out again until hours later, when his sister rang him to let him know. Uncle Kevin essentially said to the family that he doesn't want to help look after Nana in that way anymore and doesn't want to be the primary contact. How do you not want to take care of Nana and not tell the family about it? Like, you can't have both of these things. It's like, unless you want Nana to just straight up, croak.
Right.
Like, unless that's your actual wish, bro. Tiffany and Uncle Kevin are, something's wrong with that side of the family. Something went wrong over there.
Some sort of gene that they got.
Some sort of gene pool went wrong. I had organized a flight to come up and see Nana after learning of her most recent health event. When I got in, she had not ever been out of the hospital for a whole week. I stayed with her, and she could no longer do as much as she used to around the house. She also had broken her arm when she fell a few days before I arrived. Oh, no. While I was there, I tried to help her get things in order, and I took her out for lunch and out to the beach and just to get her out of the house. Very sweet. Still no improvement between Uncle Gary and Uncle Kevin. Now, Uncle Gary's sister, or I'll say Gary's sister, tried to say that Gary should apologize to make peace, but then retorted that he had not done anything wrong and Kevin should be the one to apologize. From what my mom told me, Uncle Kevin has always been this way and has time and time again gotten away with it. By the way, if you want to get away with having an amazing life, then you should tap the profile every weekday at 3 p.m. PST. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Facebook. We're live on TikTok. Tap it right now and come hang out with us.
Yay.
It's a vibe.
Tap it.
There's more to this story, but
Yeah.
I have to stop right here.
Yeah.
This is a whole mess.
It really is.
What do you think is the best course of action for OP? Like, what should OP do here, do you think?
So I'm gonna be honest with you, John.
Be 100%. Let it go.
I think I'm missing some details.
Yes, I can help fill you in.
Okay,
I can help fill you in.
Thank you. So it just sounds like just such a string of genes that just like swiveled around and got so many people in the family mixed up and missed some completely.
Yeah.
Some people sound great, and
Yeah.
like are totally innocent, but the other ones sound like they're just insane.
It pretty much
Am I right?
seems that Uncle Kevin and cousin Tiffany, and
Yes.
that's their father-daughter.
Yes.
They're the ones that primarily suck. That seems
Yeah.
to be the big issue.
Yeah.
And they just keep doing things that suck. Either are racist or ignoring their grandma who is like about to croak, with all these things going on.
Yeah.
And so it's I asked because I was like wondering to myself, I'm like,
Yeah.
do we go to the other members of the family and be like, hey, do we just want to like stop this whole Kevin and Tiffany side of the family thing? Do we
Right.
just want to kind of want to like move on
Just
and
kind of leave him out of stuff.
He's not a good caretaker of Nana.
Yeah.
Nana ain't gonna make it much longer if it's if it's up to Uncle Kevin.
Yeah.
And Tiffany's racist and sucks. So like, why don't we just be like, hey, deuces, my guys.
Right.
See you later.
Right.
Like that's kind of what I'm thinking here.
Yeah.
Maybe it's unnecessary. Maybe you just as like if we're like OP, we're just like, okay, I'll just like not really. As long as we figure out a situation that Nana's not gonna, freaking croak
Right.
and no one's gonna help her.
Right.
I think we can just kind of like, all right, I'm just distance myself. Probably
Yeah.
don't need to make a big fuss about
Yeah,
it.
because I feel like with stuff like that, it's like talking to them doesn't even seem like it'll help. Like
Yeah.
it seems like they're just kind of like this, and it's
Yeah.
not really going to change.
And what's the benefit of it? Like, if it was your mom or it's like something else, that's like a different story. But
right? Like you're not that close.
F them. Who needs them? Who
Yeah.
needs them? But we do need the final part of this story.
Ooh,
Okay.
let's
So,
hear it.
We all agree with Gary that he hasn't done anything wrong and that Tiffany is old enough to take responsibility for her own actions.
True.
And doesn't need her dad to mediate, as she isn't a kid anymore. She's 26 years old again,
True.
ladies and gentlemen. Almost 3 decades of living experience under her belt. We are all standing firm with low to no contact. So
There
here
we
we
go.
go. There's
That's
the
good.
decision. As now that Gary is the primary contact for Nana, he will let them know when a medical event happens, and he isn't that mean. They basically did everything we talked about. They're
Perfect.
like, hey, we're going to go low to no contact. We're going to give Gary Nana so she doesn't that she can live another day.
Yeah.
I think that's all we can ask for.
That's all they can control, and they're they're doing the best with what they've got.
Doing the best. Long
So-
live Nana.
Yes.
Okay. And that's it.
My arrogant cousin keeps giving me unwanted career advice, so I humiliated her in front of everyone.
That'll teach you to keep her mouth shut.
I, 30 male, recently earned my PhD from a very prestigious university outside my country. Due to a learning disability, it has been incredibly challenging to say the least. There were countless nights where I'd be left in tears because I couldn't wrap my head around a chapter or was completely stuck on an assignment, feeling beyond hopeless. But I persevered, and it is such a relief to have achieved this. By the way, this comes from The Wind is Fickle 742 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So I returned home, where my dad proceeded to throw a dinner celebration at home, inviting the entire family to celebrate. He is incredibly proud of my achievement and wanted to celebrate it with the whole family. I was looking forward to meeting everyone, but my cousin, let's call her Jane, fake name. Jane is 36, unemployed, and lives at home with her parents. She always has to be the center of attention, constantly giving her advice and input on things that when nobody wants or asks. My mom and her parents always defend her behavior, which has only made it worse over the years. They claim she is incredibly talented and she needs room to achieve her potential. My dad and I have tried countless times to reason with my mom not to get involved with her, but she's way too stubborn. In our culture, we are expected to play nice with family no matter how awful they are, so pretty much nobody calls out her behavior. So yeah, while she hasn't ruined family events per se, she definitely leaves a sour note and we can't uninvite her or else the drama will be unbearable.
So she's like this child genius, and they're like, well, she must work. We must let her work.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
This grin it and bear it mentality has always sucked in my home country, and I think it's a big reason why my dad encouraged me to settle abroad. The day of the dinner arrived, and Jane was insufferable as always. She would not stop interrupting conversations and would totally dominate it with her tall tales about how she was getting job offers from Google or going to travel around Europe to pursue her passion in music and art. It was especially annoying because since she'd keep interrupting me when I was trying to explain my research to my family members who were genuinely curious, and she couldn't stand it. Then Jane decided she finally had to give me advice on what to do with my life now. My mom and aunt basically cornered me, not letting me get away, saying it was important and she was being a good older sister by guiding me. My dad thankfully stayed right next to me in case things escalated. She started going on and on about what she did after graduating high school to make herself a success. My mom and her parents were nodding along while my dad and the rest of the family looked done with her. I kind of zoned out, not wanting to engage, but she noticed and got annoyed. She snapped her fingers in front of my eyes and looked at me annoyed. I'm giving you such good advice. You should pay attention so you can do well like me. Rather than the usual apology or excuse that I'd used for years, I proceeded to reply, is it good advice to end up an unemployed loser who lives with her parents at 36 like you? Then no thanks.
Boom!
Mic drop.
Jesus.
That was
Everybody was like,
great.
oh, I'm freaking dead.
Yeah. Everyone was stunned silent for a second before she proceeded to burst into tears and run out. My aunt and uncle glared at me before racing after her. The dinner pretty much ended after that as everyone made excuses to go off. My mom exploded at me, telling me to apologize, but my dad defended me, saying Jane could stand to learn from me instead of lecturing me like I was a kid. The argument spiraled out of control and things have been pretty tense since. My aunt and uncle sent some nasty texts, but I ignored her while my mom kept going on about how heartbroken Jane was. My other family members reached out as well, some saying they got where I was coming from, but shouldn't have said it so publicly, while others said I'd become arrogant and I should apologize. I'm feeling pretty conflicted about it now, so am I the a-hole? And there is an update, but what do you think?
I don't think Opie's the a-hole per se, or maybe like justified a-hole, because it is pretty awkward to like, lash out at a sibling when you're in front of everyone.
Right.
Like I personally probably wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Just because I'm not like that,
Yeah.
what's the word?
Like confrontational?
Yeah, confrontational, especially
Yeah.
with like,
With family.
guests and stuff.
Yeah.
But that isn't to say that she didn't deserve it, because she was
Right.
like pushing you and pushing you.
Thank you all so much for the comments. Have been going through them and I want to clarify a few things. First, as many of you pointed out, yes, my culture is very hypocritical and toxic, but people are too set in their ways to change. They'd rather tolerate Jane's BS than call her out for for it since it would start drama with her parents and my mom. Second, my mom's always been weirdly protective of Jane, which has been a source of tension between her and my dad. My dad thinks my aunt has emotionally manipulated her into defending Jane, and it's too ingrained into her. We honestly don't know for sure. We just assumed until this point. Now on to the update. Jane has been blowing up on social media, calling me arrogant and saying I have no concept of respect, and the irony is not lost on me. Fortunately, she faced backlash for needlessly airing family drama on the internet and has since taken down her posts. However, the texts from her parents have continued. They're rather entertaining to read. After mulling over things, I confronted my mom last night. She gets very obsessive about cleaning when she's upset, so I waited until she was done, and I knew she'd be too tired to keep up her incessant demands. She wasn't really in the mood to talk, but I didn't give her much of a chance to run away. I told her very bluntly how I felt about Jane's behavior, and then I told her that I considered the fact that she was taking Jane's side as a betrayal, and that I thought I could always count on at least my mother to always have my back. I admit it's probably a little manipulative. She tried to turn it around on me, saying that I was being disrespectful and it was her job to tell me when I was doing something wrong, except she wasn't expecting me to respond by asking if she cared so much about Jane, then why has she never bothered doing the same for her?
Basically, I think she's saying, like, you're telling me that I'm disrespecting you and you're calling me out. Then why haven't you ever done that with Jane? Like, why have you never told her off?
If you're telling me that this is what you're supposed to do. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I get it. She had no response and she proceeded to just walk away and ignore me for the rest of the night. Today morning, she came into my room early in the morning and she apologized to me, saying she should have realized how I was feeling. I know people will say I should have rejected it and put all sorts of conditions, but at the end of the day, she is still my mom. She might have a terrible weak spot when it comes to Jane, but she's always been a great mother to me, and I cannot hate her if I tried. I forgave her instantly, which made her cry, and she hugged me, saying how proud of me she was, and she was sorry for not showing it. I think my dad must have said something last night that got to her. I decided to push and ask her why she was so defensive of Jane when she had nothing going on for her and she was constantly making up lies. She tried to defend her again, but I told her that I was tired of doing the same old routine and if she could please treat me like an adult. After some pushing, she finally admitted that she knew Jane had absolutely nothing going on for her and it was grossly inappropriate for her to try and give me career advice like that. Let's go.
It's coming out.
There we go. Her perspective is that Jane is someone to be pitied and we should be compassionate by tolerating her BS so she doesn't feel bad. I pointed out that they just enable her behavior and made it worse, but conveniently now she said it wasn't her place to correct Jane.
It's hypocritical.
I was getting kind of sick of this cycle that was doomed to repeat, so I told her I wasn't apologizing to Jane now or ever, and the next time she tried to condescend me, I wouldn't bother holding back. I think she was a bit emotionally drained, so she accepted, so I can just hope that she got the message and won't push the subject of Jane anymore. So I've been laying in bed thinking about all of this. I think pretty much everyone in the family is sick of her behavior, so I think I'm going to talk to my dad about asking the rest of my family to exclude Jane and her parents from future events. I'm not really sure how to approach this and I doubt everyone will be on board, but I guess if we at least get the ball rolling, then people might consider in the future. Kind of sucks that all I can do is hope stuff works out instead of knowing for sure. There is another update though, but what are we thinking?
Just because, like, she is annoying, but the thing is that it seems like so far she's only annoying. Like,
Right.
I feel like we all have an annoying person who, like, in our, like, or a family member in our life who's like, oh, you should give you unwanted advice. And
and it's like,
stop.
okay, yeah.
But, like, so far, that's kind of all she's done.
Right. But there is a second update. This is actually so insane. I don't even know what to make of it. I feel like I'm living in a bad sitcom right now. To summarize, in my previous post, I called out my entitled cousin for trying to give me career advice, resulting in her having a meltdown and my parents fighting it out. Things have been kind of frosty since then, but my mom seems to have gotten the message, which is a relief. She and my dad are talking again, which is a relief because the tension was me. All I wanted was one peaceful month at home before I started my new job, but I might not get it with what transpired. Last night, my mom gets a phone call from my aunt. She is hysterical, crying how they've lost everything. She spends close to 30 minutes hearing her out, but eventually it's too much for her and just ends the call. She went into the living room and just sat there practically catatonic. After about 10 minutes, she began to tell us what was wrong, and I can't wrap my head around it. Jane decided that the best way for her to get back at me was to get a PhD for herself.
I I'm trying to figure out why this would make the mom catatonic.
Yeah, what?
I really need to know more.
I mean, maybe there's more. No doubt she thinks she'll breeze by it and be handed to her on a silver platter. Her parents, being the enablers there are, were instantly on board. The details are a little vague here, but from what we could put together, somebody approached them promising they could get Jane into a PhD program at Harvard. Dang. No doubt there were red flags all over, but they dived right into it, and the man asked for a hefty sum, which was most of their life savings. So they're paying someone.
Scammed. They got freaking scammed.
They're paying someone just to get her into Harvard.
That's so funny. This guy comes up and he's like, hello.
Yeah.
I heard you were interested in a PhD. If you pay me $1 million, you can go to Harvard.
And that's probably on top of like tuition for paying
He's
for
like,
Harvard.
just send it to moneybags123 scam.
Right, so not on Cash App.
.Harvard.
Oh my gosh. I can imagine Jane being all smug that she'd be the best PhD in the family. Her competing with me is a mixture of annoying and sad because she has no concept of self-awareness. I don't know who is worse here, Jane or her parents, but foolishly they accepted it before the obvious scammer blocked them everywhere and ran off with their money.
Yeah, you guys are dumb.
Oh my gosh, just to get a status of a PhD that you can't even earn for yourself. Oh my gosh. It just baffles me how easily they fell for it. Didn't think even for a moment that it could be too good to be true. And these sort of scams are incredibly common in my home country, so they have no excuse for not knowing better since it is common sense, but I guess expecting even that much from that narcissist is too much. You know what else is common sense? Joining us live on YouTube every weekday at 3 p.m. PST. Just tap our profile.
Tap it.
But I have, there's a little more, but what do we think?
Man, it seems like these people are perhaps not the smartest tools not the sharpest tools in the shed.
Not at all. I have no doubt they'll be begging the family for money now, and I have a feeling my mom will bring up the issue. I'm anticipating more drama, which I'll inevitably be dragged into. I'm just so exhausted with all of this right now. I think I'm just going to ask my parents to visit me where I work from now on. The nostalgia of visiting home is great, but it really doesn't seem worth the effort dealing with everyone. If any family member I like is wanting to visit, I will gladly fund their travel and stay, but I can't deal with all the noisiness and judgment anymore. It's getting on my last nerve. Anyways, I'm going to go sleep this off because my head is throbbing thinking of their idiocy. Little edit. For those of you worried about my parents' finances, there's no concern because my dad is in control of it. My mom has her own debit card for small expenses, but any major spending she needs his permission. Might be a little backwards, I don't know, but it's avoided a lot of problems because my mom is not very good with money and tends to funnel any she gets to her sister's family. Wow.
Tricky.
Good thing that the dad is in control, but yeah, that's the end of that story.
Yeah, silly.
Oh my gosh.
It seems like your cousin and her family, which I realize I might have called them your sister.
Yeah, I think I did that at one point too. Because
Yeah.
someone said like, just being a bigger sister giving you advice.
Yeah, I think I got confused, but it
more
is
of a
your
phrase.
cousin.
Yeah.
It seems like your cousin and I kind of pity them, honestly. It seems like they have a lot going on.
They do.
They both have nothing going on, and they also have a lot going on in their lives.
Yeah.
That's the end of that story.
My cousin called me at midnight asking me to babysit her kids. I told her, forget my number.
I guess you got to call another cousin.
She's not Batman. Okay, this is just literally what happened. And I was like, yo, I got to post this ASAP because what the F? I just posted recently about my grandfather's funeral, which apparently was a crap show within itself. But this started before the ceremony. I live in a different state than the majority of my family. I'm 28. I work full time, doing stuff with my day and my life, being 20 effing 8. By the way, this comes from Shrooms from Mars on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, of course, that doesn't matter, and I should always make time for family, yada, yada, yada. Let's just ignore the fact that I actually know about 15% of you by face and maybe 7% of you by name. Oh, but sorry, that's between the 400 Mildreds and the 250 Lindas and 800 Stephanies, JLCs, and Janets that I see once every full planetary alignment. Someone's bound to get lost in the weeds. I obviously make time for my parents, grandmother, siblings when we are all available. I'm the youngest out of 3, and while my job is pretty good compared to theirs, it's definitely the most lenient. And anyone else that I see on a regular basis. Anyway, back to the funeral. During the pre-ceremonial gathering, I'm being showered with, "Do you remember me? Do you know who I am? It's been a long time.
I changed your diapers and all that stuff." I'm like,
You
lady,
were just yay high.
who are you?
I just say yes, yes, and yes to avoid the BS. So in the midst of that, one of my cousins, who I have zero memory of, but apparently regularly talks to my mom, comes up to me and introduces me to their kids. We exchange pleasantries, and they seem super happy to meet me. And their mom says that I've been and their mom says that they've been absolutely dying to see me. My brain is like, what the F? And I just shake it off at that moment because I wasn't in a good mood and I just didn't want to focus on it. My cousin tells me they're around my age and that they also live in my state, and they're actually about a 40-minute drive from my place. Oh, that's awesome. I don't care.
I feel like OP just doesn't, like, is this a funeral? One.
Yeah.
But I feel like OP just like, I live my life. I don't care about these people.
Yeah,
that's literally it.
Just let me do my thing.
Yeah, okay.
She's like a turtle on a log, dude.
Literally, you're just like, this is my day. This
Yeah.
is my life. I don't care for you.
She's a turtle on a log, and there's just a bunch of people tubing, and everyone's like, I want to take the turtle home. She's like, let me be.
Let me
sunbathe on my log,
Yeah,
please.
this is my log. Stay away from my log. Stay away from me.
And
Be
tube,
on your merry
and-
way.
And do your thing.
Like, he'll do like a little head nod and like, gotcha.
So, yeah, exactly. That's
it.
all she wants to do.
Yeah.
She suggests a little get together sometime later this year and says she'll talk to my mom about it. Which, sure, that's fine. I mean, it's not like I'm 14 and I have to ask her permission to do anything anymore, but I took that as a cool. I don't have to worry about it then, and left it at that. Fast forward to about 45 minutes ago. It's almost midnight. I get a call from a number that's based in the city most of my family lives in the other state. Not only that, but it's a very specific location. Too specific to be just a spam call, so naturally, I kind of panicked. My grandmother was down there at the time, and she's a few years younger than my late grandfather, so call me a little paranoid. I answered. Hey, my name. Hey, OP, this is Cousin. How are you? Hey, I don't know who the F you are. What's up? What's going on? Everything okay? Yeah. Sounded confused in my question. Everything's fine. I was just calling to see if you were available to meet son and daughter for lunch this weekend. After I was finally able to put together who this was, I felt like that meme with all the equations floating around because there was no way this woman called me at near midnight to schedule an effing playdate. I said, I'm sorry, what? Remember at the funeral we talked about you and the kids' names getting together sometime later this year? Daughter is transferring to university in my city for her junior year, and son is applying there too. So they're taking a tour on Saturday morning. So I was thinking we could meet you afterward and you could take them somewhere for lunch. Just nowhere without, because my son is only 18. Yo, what? I remember her saying that they were around my age, but homie can't even drink?
That's the point. That's what came across OP's mind. He's like, he can't drink. I don't want to hang out with these losers.
Yeah. Then she starts rambling about how her daughter isn't allowed to drink unless she or her husband are present because she's 22 and doesn't know what moderation means. Why is this? Why are we talking about alcohol?
This is
at
weird.
lunch. At lunch.
This is also, yeah, but also, this is freaking midnight.
Yeah, it's midnight. I do not call people after 9. Certain people I call after 9. But other than that, I don't call anyone
I would
after
text,
9.
unless if it's an emergency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I text everyone.
Yeah.
Like I would maybe, the only person I call after 9 is my girlfriend. That's it. Anyone else? Maybe my brother.
He's so sweet.
Yeah. But like, not even John or Sam. I'm like, oh, it's like almost 8.
I'm like,
better not call.
No, this is, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I get that.
Yeah.
This is, I would be like, can we do this tomorrow?
Yeah.
Can we talk
yeah.
about this tomorrow?
We'll figure this out tomorrow. Maybe this is just me, but what in God's green earth would a 28, almost 29-year-old have to talk about with an 18 and 22-year-old that isn't, don't do drugs, focus on school, and don't get anybody pregnant, not to mention the fact that I don't even know these people. Before I knew it, I had started wheezing and squawking on the phone, and Cuz did not appreciate it. I couldn't hear what she said under my laughter, But I was like, yeah, I don't think so. I work a double on Saturday, so I'm not getting off until like 8 p.m. Well, first off, I don't know what was so funny about what I said, and you could easily just do a nice dinner or something. 8 p.m. isn't too late. My little patience is gone at this point. Ma'am, I work a good 40 minutes away. This isn't Star Trek. I'm not getting home until around 9, and I'm not itching to babysit after an 11-hour shift. I could recommend some spots for y'all to check out yourselves, but this isn't a college town. You're not going to find many places with 0 alcohol, but it's not like they don't have other drinks. Excuse me? I know your mother did not raise you to be rude like this, especially to family. Dude, I don't even know you. I have no idea who you are, and you're calling me at witching hour to schedule a hangout with your kids who are in fact not around my age.
This is weird. Like,
this
who are you?
This is weird.
The mom is weird. I feel like the kids are like, we don't know this guy.
Yeah, they're just like,
that's cousin Greg.
I feel like cousin wants something out of OP.
No, and that's to take care of her kids.
And the kids are just sort of like, we don't care. We just want to see this college.
I feel like the kids should. This is what my mom would have done.
What was your mom done?
She would like, this is your cousin Greg's number.
Yeah. Reach
out to him if you want to reach out. If you're going to be in the same spot, like, hey, do that.
Yeah.
Like, these kids are also adults.
Yeah.
They can make decisions for themselves.
Yeah. 18, 22.
Yeah. They don't need to be like,
helicopter mom. She always gets what she wants. People go around her schedule.
Yeah.
This is definitely what that is.
This is also midnight. Like, I would be so furious. Like,
yeah.
One, I don't know. Like, again, I love OP's.
Gotta work a double the next day.
Yeah. I love OP's just straightforwardness of like, who the heck are you? I don't even know your kid. The one thing that does bother me is like, they're kids. I don't want to hang out with your kids.
Yeah.
Like, they can't drink. They can't party with me.
Yeah.
I want to party. Like, if they were like, oh yeah, they're my age and they want to party, I feel like OP would be like, great, yeah, let's get drinks.
Y'all are all young adults, says cousin. OP, I pay for my own medical insurance. We are not the same. Please do not call me again. But you can always call us every weekday at 3 p.m. PST. Just tap our profile. I hang up, and I had a small cackle fit with my fiance, who was awoken by this nonsense. Obviously, I'm not going to hear about this until normal waking hours, but I low-key hope she wakes my mom and bitches to her about me so mom can cuss her out for calling either of us at such an ungodly hour. But I know mom's going to tell me that I could have been a little nicer, which honestly, I think I just did fine by not cussing during the conversation. But maybe this was just me and my zero BS tolerance talking. So am I the a-hole? I don't know. I mean, are you the a-hole for not...
No, you're not the a-hole for saying no.
For not babysitting your cousins?
Like your unknown cousins' kids.
Yeah.
And they're them like calling you at
they're just like
this hour.
strangers.
Yeah, they literally are just strangers. Like yeah, sure,
they're
you're
just calling
blood.
for a favor.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Oh my God, you remember when we talked at the funeral and you said, sure, you'll hang out with us?
Yeah, like an uncertain sure.
You meant yes. And you meant to do that next week.
So weird. Also, like, why not? They're leaving the next day too, it sounds like.
Yeah.
I'll be there tomorrow. At least a 2 week.
Let them. It's like if someone called me and like I don't know you,
yeah,
you want me to hang out with your kids? No. But the fact that OP is like, I can recommend some spots for you.
That's nice.
That's nice. It's also midnight. I would like to get some sleep.
Yeah. And if you genuinely wanted to get to know OP, you could have definitely went this.
Or you could have just texted me.
Differently.
A text would have been so much. I think this whole entire situation would be so much better if it was just a text.
Yeah.
But no, you don't owe them anything. You don't know them. You don't need to know them. You don't want to know them.
Nope.
Mom's probably going to be a little upset.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But like she said, Mom was like, oh, you could have been a little nicer.
Yeah. Agreed.
That's the only thing. Like, good luck to your kids and that, if they're in my side of town, whatever.
Hopefully they find another college.
Yeah, if they want to get a drink, hit me up. That's what I feel like.
Yeah, when they can drink. Oh, man. Well, that's the end of that episode.
That's it. Yeah, that's the end of it.
So, if you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you.
And see you tomorrow.